Verus gramor of burin. Esser getir slikan sefa. Hans aldar munnevesa. At gu getit.
World RX has arrived in Scandinavia. Let the fight for Rallycross immortality begin. Welcome to the FIA World Rallycross Championship presented by Monster Energy. We're at the Longyearbyen circuit in the amazingly named town of Hell in Norway. Situated just outside Trondheim, the track here is carved into rock and has been a classic on the Rallycross calendar for many years. The racing is always hard, the crowds are passionate, and the championship is at full throttle as we hit the halfway point of the season. Hell really isn't that bad after all. As the drivers prepare and the teams make final tweaks, let's take a look back at round 5, Great Britain. The World Championship marked Rallycross's 50th anniversary at the birthplace of the sport, Lydden Hill. The old track produced great action all weekend, and the watchwords in the paddock were tyre preservation, with the abrasive surface and arid conditions grinding the rubber down all weekend. Come the final, the PSRX drivers occupied the front row, but Petter Solberg was on the fresher treads, somehow having saved 3 new tyres until the semis. Off the line and round 4 winner Johan Kristoffersen joked immediately, but just 1 lap later Solberg responded and crucially came out in front of his teammate. For a second final in a row, a puncture curtailed Timmy Hansen's ambitions, while Matthias Ekström was bogged down in 5th and sensing his championship lead disappearing as the laps went by. Meanwhile, Solberg was putting in a faultless performance to take his first victory since Portugal last year, 16 rounds ago.
It was a long time to win again, you know, but by winning the championship and things that is involved in Rallycross, it's quite hard sometimes, you know. So every time you win, it's very special. And in Lydden Hill, I had a perfect weekend. I must say, everything went absolutely fantastic. No problem. I was really big relief. We are working hard, so we hope this good rhythm is continuing, you know.
It was a great victory for Solberg, but Kristoffersen's second place sees him move to the top of the championship, ousting Ekström for the first time this season. The champion is still second, and with just 7 points separating the top 3, we're at a critical point in the season. That 1-2 result at Lydden for PSRX Volkswagen Sweden sees them build a massive lead in the team's championship. The other teams will now be asking questions of themselves and their machines. Can anybody find an answer? And quickly. The World RX drivers got in the mood for the battle in Hell with a visit from UFC fighter Emil Meek. For double World RX champion Petter Solberg, his fight is with another countryman. For the first half of this season, Solberg and Andreas Backward have been locked in a battle of wills. Big clashes in Barcelona, Hockenheim and Belgium have fueled a rivalry that has been fermenting for years. Well, the two have met on track plenty of times this year, and we can look at the rivalry in a little bit more detail. First up, the results through the event so far, and look backward has only beaten Solberg at Barcelona at the start of the year. 15 times they've met head-to-head on the track. 87% of the time it's gone Solberg's way. Domination from the double World RX champion. Qualifying race wins 11 for Solberg, 7 for Backward, but look, when it comes to semi-finals and finals, it's all gone Solberg's way. Passion has spilled over before in Norway, with retirements and accusations made in the press. The double world champ Solberg has never won on native soil, and Backward's clean sweep in 2016 will have hurt. Forget the World Championship for this round. It's a battle to become the king of Norway.
It was pretty special, and it's strange for a driver to never see anybody's rear bumper or anything like that, so it was pretty cool. And those weekends are so rare, and it's just very good to remember the whole thing.
You know, the first thing he had worked for me in my workshop, you know, from the school. He is quite active and really passionate. But it's always some of these small mistakes, you know, that doesn't need to be there, you know.
I don't think it's like meant to be that much crashing in between us. Petter is so passionate about winning, the same am I, and we just end up in the same position every time because we're quite close fighting in the top. For me, Hockenheim, it wouldn't have happened if Petter didn't stall in that corner. Then if he didn't do that, he would run a bit wider, I would pass him.
I actually called him the week Tuesday after, and I asked him, do you actually see over the bonnet? Because you're sitting too low in the car, and when you accelerate, the front is lifting, and do you see the cars in front of you?
Yeah, we're sitting quite low, but I mean, like, nothing to... I have no problems or issue with it. When unpredictable things happen, like when Petter stalled in the corner, then it's no chance to avoid it.
And I told him that victory comes automatically when you just calm down. And you saw it driving here in Norway last year. It was fantastic. He was very fast and nobody had a chance. So he just...
This year haven't gone as we would want in the start of the year, so I really cross my fingers that it will happen again, and it will mean the world to take 30 points and get a bit closer in the fight.
It's about time, and to win here in Norway, yeah, for sure, it would be fantastic.
2017 sees the full-time debut of Cornel Choo-Choo Lukács. How does the Hungarian racer feel he has settled into the World Championship with 5 rounds under his belt?
When I started this year, we just thinking about the European Championship, and then we thinking about let's dream big and go to the World Championship. We started to work on it. It was a really far and hard working. I need to learn a lot, so to get the speed with the others. But yes, really enjoyable to be here.
Before the action gets underway, let's take a look at the track in Norway. Back to Hell near Trondheim, and this circuit is so steep, the graphic doesn't do justice to the elevation change. First corner joker, we're going to ride on board with Petter Solberg. Comes down through the bumpy braking zone into turn 1. There is that joker off to the left. He takes the standard lap, being careful not to ride those big curbs. The joker merges on gravel, and that means we see a lot of contact there, and barging to try and get the line into turn 2, a very steep downhill hairpin. Pulling gears down towards another hairpin at the bottom of the hill onto gravel. You can see that cleans quite a lot. Solberg uses a lot of the big curbs on the inside, accelerating up through the deep water, over the gravel, right and then left over the crest. Solberg with a little bit of handbrake, tight in on the wall. You can see his hand hovering there, ready to take it again if he needs, into the last corner, round the right-hander, get the car straight, hard on the gas, and it's over a big jump at the finish line. Coming up, we've got highlights of the action from qualifying 1 and 2, the best of the action from qualifying 3. It's crunch time in Q4, only the top 12 qualify. Up next is the round 3 final for RX2. Only the top 3 go through in the live World RX semi-finals. The second final of the year for the European Supercars. Then the race of the weekend, the World RX final live. Q1 in Norway, and the sunshine of Friday's free practice session had deserted the championship in favour of heavy rain. In the first race, Sebastian Loeb and Andreas Backrud went to the joke lap together, and it was last year's winner Backrud who came off worst in the encounter. He looked faster than the Frenchman, but he couldn't find a way by, and it was Loeb who took the first checkered flag of the day. Johan Kristoffersen got a bad start in his race, bottled up behind Baumanis, but he stuck the VW up the inside on the way into turn 2 and would lead from then on. He's a specialist in wet conditions, and he went fastest so far in Q1. His teammate Petter Solberg very nearly got turned around on the straight after contact with Gulan Schischrit up to the first corner. Timmy Hansen had a look up the inside, but with turn 2 being a left-hander, Solberg managed to hold the position. Solberg jokered on lap 3, set a fastest lap of the day, but Ekström responded on lap 4 and came out in front of the Norwegian. Ekström goes top of Q1 so far. Rein Snitich in the third Audi was lucky not to spin in the first corner. He managed to gather the car up despite contact in turn 2 as well. Raiola picking him up on the way into the steep downhill left-hander, and the Latvian would take the flag. Kevin Eriksson had this massive moment in the first corner after contact with Topi Heikkinen launching up the gravel bank where we saw Liam Doran roll last year. Eriksson lucky to get away with it. At the end of the race, the Russian Timo Scheider slotted in front of Ken Block. Heikkinen ran wide on the gravel on the last corner, but no such problems for his team boss Matthias Ekström, who's back on top form.
I mean, we're trying to improve all the time. Some things you will see from outside, and some you will need to know what's under the hood, but as always, you need to try and find a couple of hundreds here and there because the competition is really strong. So lately we have been, I wouldn't say on the back foot, but we have at least not been setting the pace. So quite happy to see that we can be in the front in a heat again, and especially in Q1, because that sets the tone for the whole weekend. And now we had a good starting spot for Q2, so we have to try and do the same thing again.
Q2, and although the rain had eased, the conditions were, if anything, more difficult. Super slippery as the track turned from wet to just greasy. Topi Heikkinen into the joker lap here, and it would be a race between him and Ken Block. Ken Block making this mistake. It wasn't enough to drop a position to Timo Scheider and Baumanis behind, but it was enough to mean that Topi would come out on top come the end of the race. Timmy Hansen went into the joker lap in second place, but made this lovely pass up the inside of Timo Scheider. Scheider tried to respond, but Hansen on the left-hand side had the line for turn 2. Reinis Nitish in the Audi out front was pushing hard, but at the end of the race, it was Hansen who'd done the job best. On to the last race of Q2, Andreas Backerud into the joker lap with Sebastian Loeb, just like in Q1, but this time the order was reversed. The Norwegian was in front, and that allowed him to hunt down the front 3 drivers. Johan Kristoffersson making a mistake in the hairpin here. Solberg got up the inside. Backerud later admitted that he was able to watch from behind at what the grip levels were like. When Ekström and Solberg jokered together on the final lap, Backerud was clearly in front. A return to the fantastic form that we saw from him at this circuit last year. He went 2.3 seconds quicker, to his and his fans' delight.
I was kind of lucky because the conditions changed so much between Q1 and Q2. So being behind and seeing the others doing mistakes, I could kind of re-change my driving a bit, and so I could catch up very quickly with the pack. From there on, I was just continuing trying to do no mistakes, and hopefully, yeah, it ended well. So it felt very good, and the pace was there. So yeah, it was good.
Here are the standings at the end of day 1 in Norway. Matthias Ekström at the top, having won Q1. Andreas Backerud P2, having won Q2. Solberg, Kristoffersson, Loeb, Timmy Hansen, Reinis Nitish and Topi Heikkinen are the top 8. Scheider, Ken Block, Kevin Hansen and Timo Scheider inside the top 12. Everyone below that is fighting for a place in the semis.
So some new faces at EKS RX this weekend. Matthias, you seem to have some new staff. Tell us about who these people are.
Yeah, we made a competition on Facebook that you could apply to be a team member and a mechanic for a weekend here in Hell with EKS, and that's our guys. So they have the chance to really be close to our team and see what we're doing and the changes we do in the cars, and also to get to try to be a mechanic. But with the rules we have, it's so few people per car, so we can't really give them a full-time mechanic job. At least they can have a good try.
What an amazing opportunity. I mean, presuming they know what to do with the tools they're holding.
Yeah, I mean, we already tried some small exercise and they did pretty well. So for sure they were not really mechanics, but for us it's more to be close to the team and see what happened behind the curtains.
What a great idea. Thanks, Matthias. So a very charitable mood here at EKS RX, especially you two gentlemen, Topi and Reinis. I've seen you've been doing some nice activities with Drive for Life. Tell us a little bit about this charity you've been involved with.
Yeah, this charity is the group of people who help children who had hard times in their lives, health problems and family problems, and yeah, it's a bit connected with Rallycross, as we know the Norwegian guy who tried to help them.
Yeah, it's the official charity of World RX, and it's started by one of the drivers.
Yeah, that's a really great thing, and if you can make any single happy face, it's always pleasure. You know, in this life, the motorsport is the one key for us, but still the health and the happy people is the biggest thing for us. And you know, motorsport is the one thing, but then there is the many other really important things also, and which need to be in the good level.
And it looks like they really enjoyed themselves because some of them aren't that much younger than you guys.
No, they are not much younger, and we enjoyed the summer conclusion to spend time together with the children, and we played football, and you know, for me the hardest feeling is that from outside they are the same. They don't have any outside seeing problems, only inside, and that's a bit hard. We did everything what we could ourselves, and we really enjoyed the time. They did as well.
Yeah, they seem to be really happy, especially putting on your helmets and overalls.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny to see like 1 meter Kai put my overall on and the helmet. So, like I said, every single happy face, what we can do together with the Rainis is always pleasure.
It makes us happier.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name's Andrew Coley, alongside me this weekend David Binks, and reporting from the paddock and the spotters tower, Neil Cole. Here's how they stand ahead of Q3. Ekstrom and Backrut with a win each in the first 2 qualifying sessions at P1 and P2 from Solberg, Kristoffersen, Loeb, Hansen, Nittisch and Heikkinen the top 8. Timo Scheider, Ken Block, Kevin Hansen and Timo Scheider are currently making the cut, and everybody else fighting for a place in the semis. Dry weather for the start of Sunday's action, but as you can see, some damp patches on the grid and out on the track. Choo Choo made the best of it though and took the first checkered flag of the day. Race 2 and Gronholm up into the Joker lap, leaving Kevin Hansen on the standard lap. Good decision from Gronholm. He did later catch up with Raiola and Shisharit. Kevin Hansen, that allowed him just to break away a little bit. Gronholm, though, doing well to keep up with the younger of the Hansens, who is vastly experienced, of course, in Rallycross. Next up, Timo Scheider was on the damp patch on the inside, although it was drying. He got a bad start, but followed Timo Scheider. That didn't end up being a bad thing, as you could see the battle that went on in the Joker lap. Guy Wilkes managing to get ahead of JB Dubourg. Come the end of the race, watch for Scheider in the background on a go-slow problem, we think, with his engine. Timo Scheider getting the merge ahead of his teammate Yannis Baumanis, and at this point, those two going top of Q3. Wait and see the sign, Q3, race 4. Here's the lineup. On the inside, Topi Heikkinen, then Sebastian Loeb, Ken Block, Johan Kristoffersen and Rainis Nittisch. Everybody on new tyres, and that, of course, is because yesterday we saw rain all day long, so they've all got 2 brand new sets of slicks to use today. And there they are, the brand new Coopers on everybody's car. Control tyre. Right-hand side of the grid, Heikkinen and Luke has still got a slight damp patch, but it's getting very marginal now. It was worse for the earlier races in Q3. Revs are up, green light. Heikkinen got it well hooked up on the inside, so the damp patch doesn't seem to matter now. Loeb's going to get a squeeze. He's going to try and look up the inside of Kristoffersen, up towards the Joker. Kristoffersen on the handbrake, blocks up the inside of Sebastian Loeb. Nittisch is going to end up P4 from those guys. Now they're going to concertina down into turn 2, but I think they're going to hold position unless anybody runs wide. So Johan Kristoffersen through into P2, but Topi Heikkinen the only man not to Joker on lap 1.
I don't even know if Loeb wanted to go for the Joker there. He seemed to bottom out on the brakes and then decide to go forward, and it was just one of those split seconds. He had to take the whole field with him, and it gave Topi the inside line for the corner.
Yeah, Topi in the clear. That braking zone up at turn 1, good spot. He's really bumpy.
You'll notice, actually, you'll see it a bit later on, when the cars on the brakes there, they sort of pitching left and right. It's really, really rough tarmac.
Kristoffersen around the right-hander up at turn 1. Kristoffersen has got an injured foot. If you've not seen any of the social media over the weekend, it was in fact Loeb's car you're looking at now, ran him over in the pre-grid. It was a total accident. Kristoffersen was in a world of his own. Loeb's mechanics were pushing the car, so we don't even think Loeb was in the car. And I'm afraid Kristoffersen got run over, and he's in a lot of pain. It's his right foot, David, and actually that's a good thing that it's not his left foot.
It is, Andrew. You know, with the left foot, you do a lot of left foot braking, obviously, so, you know, you're using a lot of pressure. The throttle's not so much weight on the throttle. Yes, they've got to be able to flex it back and forwards, but it's not as hard on the foot. But Topi's got a good run there. He's took the Joker straight away. Kristoffersen, look, we were wondering this. We saw yesterday the cars look a lot more equal because of the weather. The VWs were back in the dry, seem to have the pace. He's just caught up to Toppy there
and just destroyed him, basically. Fastest lap of the day for Johan Kristoffersson. So the dry conditions, as David Bing says, playing perfectly into the hands of VW. Good to see the EKS team responding quickly, because they're obviously worried that gap was getting shut down. Normally, if you're going to go Joker late, you would go last lap, but Heikkinen went to defend, and Block holding up Sebastian Loeb behind him. So Kristoffersson out front. Are we now going to see the true pace of the VW?
It's also interesting to see that Ken Block is forward with Toppy as well. So, you know, is the EKS Audi not going to be running quick here unless it gets wet later?
They had a good run yesterday. I'm trying to see where they were. Ekstrom was P1, Nittish was P7, and Toppy was P8. So that's very, very strong from the three Audis. And they did say, Ekstrom was saying he was hoping for rain today. Solberg, Backer, and I think VW all hoping for dry conditions. Sebastian Loeb is all over the back of Ken Block. These guys have had quite a few good battles. Block and Loeb have been together several times this year. Loeb with his wipers on, trying to keep the screen clear, but this is going to be the new benchmark. Look at that, 2:47.1. You don't need the graphic to show you that has absolutely smashed it. Kristoffersson 2.8 seconds faster over the line behind Heikkinen, Block, Loeb and Nittish. Great drive by Kristoffersson. There it is, confirmation of the result, 2:44.3. Heikkinen, Block, Loeb and Nittish. So Kristoffersson's foot obviously not affecting his performance too much. Despite being in pain, he's getting the job done. Timozyanov remains P3, but Heikkinen slots into P2 as well. So another good result for the Audis. Nittish into 8th, and we've got one more to come, of course, with the world champion Ekstrom in the last race of Q3. Right, let's have a look at turn 1 again. Kristoffersson from 4th on the grid. Say Heikkinen did well. Yes, David.
Yeah, he did look like he could have been going to go for the Joker, but you saw the car, the compression on the suspension, and that just pushed him into Kristoffersson, but it let Kristoffersson get ahead.
It actually cost him as well, because Block then got up the inside, Loeb unable to get the car turned in where he wanted it, and then, of course, he's had to follow him for the rest of the race. Kristoffersson on a flyer in the VW. This section of the track still wet, look. Doesn't seem to be affecting those front radiators. That was the question everyone's been waiting to ask in wet and muddy conditions. Heikkinen making it out in P2. Good job then. He's got an injured foot, but he's still very, very fast indeed. Kristoffersson leads Q3. Last race of Q3 is on the line. These are the guys who are right up at the top of the table. Petter Solberg racing at home, clunks the car into gear. Look, a few little adjustments on the wheel, looking down. Can he get the best start? Can he beat this lot off the grid? Andreas Backward, last year's winner on the inside. We think that grid slot is now dry. Matthias Ekstrom, the world champion. Petter Solberg, the ex-world champion. Kevin Eriksson and Timmy Hansen. Marshall's waiting to head towards the back of the grid. Everything very slickly organised here in Norway. Timmy Hansen in a good position to go Joker from the outside, but of course with all those cars on the inside, will we see what we saw in Portugal? Maybe all 5 will Joker, I doubt it from there. Here we go then. Norwegian fight is on. Backward versus Solberg. Backward sideways off the line. Doesn't look to be the best of stars. Solberg and Ekstrom very equal on the way out towards turn 1. They go straight to the Joker lap. Eriksson decides to slot in behind Backward. Solberg's hard on the gas around the outside. Ekstrom's had a nudge from the rear. That's cost all 3 of them. Timmy Hansen up alongside Ekstrom. Solberg's going to have a look up the inside of Timmy now. Timmy's on the outside for turn 2. Contact again between Solberg and Ekstrom. And David, that was messy.
It was. You know, we saw them all go in there. Timmy decided he had to get up the inside. It was a great move. Got himself up the inside there, but unfortunately then he was on the outside for the next turn.
Extra problem, contact! Solberg, and that was massive contact. I think that was a problem from Ekstrom. That checked up Solberg, and Hansen had nowhere to go. He was in between Solberg and the wall.
Solberg didn't even know Hansen was up the inside there. You know, they were messed up from the Joker lap, but yeah, he didn't even know Hansen was there. He was coming across and he put him into the wall.
That is a disaster for Timmy Hansen down at the bottom of the hill who stopped, but also for Solberg. Look at Ekstrom though coming through. Oh, Ekstrom backs it in front of Eriksson. Brilliant, and I'm really surprised with all the argy-bargy those guys had in the Joker lap, these managed to get out in front.
And what we've got to be careful is coming around. Timmy's quite well in the middle of the track when they come around to that bottom of the hill, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to get past. And there's a lot of carbon fibre there as well, which doesn't do any good for your tyres.
So huge amounts of both track cladding and bits of cars down at the bottom of the hill. Look at Solberg's car, looks like it looked at Hockenheim. Timmy gets out of the car, he's rightly very disappointed indeed. Backward has got to go hammer down now because Ekstrom is chasing him hard in the background. Bakkerud, so fastest lap of the day, Matthias Ekstrom 39.2. The chase is on.
It is, and unfortunately for Timo, you know, this is the fastest run we've had in a qualifying heat. So, you know, yesterday's qualifying times, it's going to really affect him in the running order to get into a semi.
It is indeed. Where was Timmy? Timmy was P6 overnight, so a DNF, he's going to need to be right up there to just scrape through, I think. Look at the mess down the bottom. We'll look forward to seeing the replays, try and figure out what happened. This is about the gap. Backer at 4.5, David Binks. That's what they needed yesterday, but it's dry today.
Yeah, we'll see Backer. He knows this track. It's his home track. He'll have driven it lots of times. He's going into the jogger there now. Nice and neat. Rotates the car, keeps it on the curbs with the front end. And look at that, perfect. Back out in front of Matthias.
Ekstrom will try hard to be right up behind him, but he can't shut the door like he did on Ericsson and Solberg, despite huge damage to the bodywork. The VW is holding on to P4. This isn't going to damage his hopes too much, so both the Norwegians are still in there. It's just poor Timmy Hansen who lost out, and I don't know what happened to Ekstrom, but twice coming out of corners, it looked like he checked up.
It did, just like maybe a bog that haven't got the revs set. He was in too high a gear. I don't think he would be. We know Ekstrom's a hell of a driver, but you know, it just didn't seem to get the launch.
Backer coming round to take the finish line. 2:44.3 is the target. What can he do? It's a 2:44.6. I think that's going to see him go P2, so it's going to be Kristoffersson who will have taken the win. Backer is pleased, though. Handbrakes it in to the radio interview area. He'll go down there and give a chant up, I'm sure, to his fans who will be up on the bank, and we'll hear the standard Backer oi oi oi. But Timmy Hansen walking back, very disappointed. I wonder how bad the damage is on the car. He's heading back across to the 208. All that in the background, some of that Solberg's bodywork. Hansen's looking at the front right. We'll have a look in a minute. So Backer takes it with a 2:44.6 from Ekstrom, Ericsson and Solberg. Timmy Hansen with that DNF. So Hansen, of course, drops off. Solberg P6. Overnight he was P3. Backer up in P2, just ahead of Ekstrom, and it was Ekstrom who was leading last night. So will this be enough to see Backer go the top of the standings after Q3? We'll find out soon enough. So we're going to ride on board with Solberg, so let's see his view of the start. Now, this was really messy. So Solberg goes Joker, but watch this. Ekstrom leans on him on the inside. So Solberg tries to go around the outside, but then Hansen's up his inside. So these three, that Hansen nudges the back of Ekstrom. Ekstrom's out wide into turn 2, but what we're waiting to see is what happens at the bottom of the hill. So now look, Solberg up, here we go. Right, so watch Ekstrom here. Ekstrom's out in the dirt, and when it grips, David, he comes, look at this, and Solberg avoids, oh wow, so I didn't see how bad the damage was on Hansen's car.
That was a big impact, Andrew. You know, you saw there, Ekstrom got into the dirt, it just slowed the car down, come across, Solberg didn't know Timmy was there, and unfortunately that was it, he was in the wall, but that was a hard impact. It
was a big impact. Hopefully they can get the Peugeot repaired. Ekstrom, very strange, so it was in the dirt, and then it was almost like when it hooked on the tarmac that it even, either it caught Ekstrom out and it pulled in more than he thought, or he was shutting the door. I suspect a little bit of both, but Solberg had a nose up the inside, and
yeah, he knows his competition's there. He had to get back across, but yes, you know, he came back onto the dry line, out of the dirt. It got the traction. It shot across. Solberg probably didn't expect him to come back across so quick. Unfortunately, it happened.
So disaster for Timmy Hansen, but a great result for Andreas Bakkerud. Here are the standings after Q3. Matthias Ekstrom remains at the top. Kristoffersson winning Q3 means we've seen 3 different winners of those first 3 qualifying sessions. Backer in P2, Solberg down to P4, Loeb, Hakkinen, Block, Nitish. Then it's Ericsson, Timosyanov, Kevin Hansen and Janis Baumanis. Timmy Hansen looking P14. He needs that car in tip-top condition to be able to fight his way back through to the top 12. Analysis package for you from hell in Norway, and we've got some seriously different weather conditions in this one because the first shots are from a 2-hour free practice session on Friday evening, and the ones you'll see later on were from the rain on Saturday. That is Janis Baumanis in the start car coming through the right-hander, hooking the curves and heading up the hill. And David Binks, this is Ken Block. I think that is up in the Joker lap, up at turn 1.
It is, and look at that. You just saw a little tug of the handbrake there as Ken turns it in, using the front wheel on the curbs, bouncing over. Really high curbs here in hell. A bit like you see in Portugal, to be honest. You know, we've got some undulations, we've got some high curbing. The guys are having to really use them to turn the cars in. Over the finish line here with Hakkinen coming up. Look at the air the car's taking, the droop on the suspension. Look at the tyres compressing. You know, we've got some great shots around this track.
It squashes nicely over the jump. Here's Kristoffersson, not quite so high. Of course, this car based on the old World Rally car. Takes the landing very well indeed. The jumps here not quite so big as they were in Finland for that car. This is Timo Hansen. Timo Hansen style, normally we would see him be very tidy up in the Joker, but here really you've got to get the car rotated early.
Yeah, and you know, these guys are using the practice sessions here to try different lines, different speeds into the corners. Obviously you'll see later on when it gets wet, it's a total different package for the drivers. They'll have all made major damper changes to the car. You can see it's a very rough track, and look at the cars pitching around. But there we've got Ekstrom. He was really quick there in the wet. It's pulled a lot back between the cars with the wet weather coming in. But there, look, he's having to use a lot of curve, keep it very accurate, get that tyre, a lot of weight on that front right tyre, and then look at it rolling down the hill. Really careful driving.
Yesterday we saw a lot of people running deep in that corner, and we saw their Ekstrom on the brakes. I wonder if we'll see it from another angle with another car, but there's actually a bump as it transitions from the gravel to the tyre, and that does seem to be making a difference. So this is Solberg in the last corner, and very important again to get the car straight.
That's right. You know, we saw Solberg there, he actually put a lot of brake power into the pedal there just to nose the car, let it rotate round. And again, as a driver coming in this sort of conditions, every lap you don't know if they've carried a bit more dirt onto the tarmac, it could be a bit more greasy, so he's literally having to just be so careful on every bit of input.
Andreas Backerud coming in, we can see, with a lot of steering lock, gets the car rotated and then points it over the curbs on the inside. Visor down despite the rain, wipers on full, gets the focus straight and then back on the power, headed up towards the jump across the finish line. Hansen's car coming back to the paddock with heavy, heavy damage. The team trying to cover the engine. There's secrets in there they don't want people to see. This is why, look, Ekstrom and Solberg shutting the door on each other. Hansen, the victim, with an absolutely huge impact in the wall. He's made every final this year, and he's in serious trouble now.
Well, Timmy, we can see the guys are working very hard to get the car fixed up for Q4, but first of all, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. Nothing is broken. I have some neck pain, but it's only muscular, the doctor said, so yeah, I'm okay.
So you're fit enough to race. Wait to see if the car is fit enough. Can you tell us what happened?
I didn't see any outside footage, but from my point of view, it felt like Petter moved over very suddenly. And like this, I was from the race to the wall to standing still. But as I said, I didn't see the footage from outside.
From watching from outside, he was avoiding Ekstrom, who cut across him. So it was like he didn't. I don't think he saw that you were there, but all you knew was just the sudden impact.
Yeah, from my point of view, it was very sudden. I know he's not the best at looking in the mirror, so maybe he wasn't aware that I was there. But I think it was a very hard impact for me.
Hard impact, a shock, and also disappointing. But now you've got to try and throw it away and get going again.
Exactly. I was prepared to take off my suit and go home, but no, it seems they are doing another miracle. These guys are incredible. They've done it before, and I thought the weekend was definitely over, but there is still hope. So I have to, as you say, try to refocus, and if we get to the start line and manage to get an okay heat, we can still get to the semi-finals.
Coming up towards Q4, this is how they stand. Matthias Ekstrom is currently the top qualifier. Andreas Backerud in P2, Johan Kristoffersson in P3. They have won a qualifying session apiece. Solberg, Loeb, Heikkinen, Block and Nittish are your top 8. Eriksson, Timosjanov, Kevin Hansen and Baumanis are just in. Scheider and Hansen are fighting for a place in the semis. On to Q4, and the Peugeot Hansen mechanics had worked a miracle to see Timo Hansen back out on the grid in time. He set a fantastic benchmark. Race 2, Scheider and Scheider came together in turn 1. Scheider went no further. Scheider was on a flyer, desperate to make it through to the semi-finals. Good drive by him. Race 3, Rainis Nittish and Kevin Hansen split their strategy on lap 1. After the Jokers, Kevin Hansen was out in front and he went into the lead in Q3. Well, Petter Solberg is in this one, Q4, race 4. There he is on the inside. racing in front of the Norwegian fans. He's not managed to win this round yet. Can he do it today? Makes those final tweaks to the settings ahead of the launch. Solberg with Timo next to him, Ken Block, Janis Baumanis and Sebastian Loeb. They're all in the top 12 at the minute, and they've all chosen old tyres. They're saving the new boots, I think, for the semi-finals. Baumanis, the only one who's in danger, so he'll really want to push here. The marshals leave the grid finally, and we're ready to race. Green light on the inside. Solberg's got good traction, so is Ken Block. Timo going to get shut out. He's got careful. Block goes to the Joker. Solberg's early on the ankles, takes the standard lap. In behind him, I think Loeb and Timo are alongside each other. Baumanis is in behind, and Timo has managed to get the better of Sebastian Loeb. So Solberg leads. Tidy start.
Excellent start. All 5 cars launched at the same time. It was split seconds between them. Perfect start. Block went for the Joker. You know, Solberg straight on the in-lap. Fantastic.
Solberg then in the dry, in the VW. We know how good this car is. Here we ride on board with a man who is a 3-time FIA World Champion, twice in Rallycross, once in Rally. He's the only man to be a champion in 2 disciplines. He's desperate to win here, David.
Yeah, home track, he's inboard there. Most of the track, I noticed, literally one hand on the wheel, one's on the handbrake on the interchange. They're literally rolling the wheel left, right, soaring, going up, even on the dirt sections, having to just put that bit more input in, left and right.
It's so busy, isn't it? There's just so much going on. I mean, look at this long downhill left-hander. Sebastian Loeb is all over the back of Timo. Not a lot he can do about it at the minute. The gap for the Joker is 4.6, so Block's just lost another tenth. As I was looking at that, went from 4.5 to 4.6, so in theory Solberg could go now and come out in front of them, and we wouldn't have to worry, but I wonder if he'll wait to the end of the race.
I wonder, we saw quite a smart call yesterday with Tommy Heikkinen. They sent him in, they knew he was getting caught up, so they sent him in. So when he came out, he did drop the second, but it wasn't a smart call.
Let's wait and see if anybody goes this time. Loeb does, so Loeb feels he's bottled up behind Timo, the world 9-time world champion. Sends it on the way in, but he clipped the bank, and that's going to cost him time, and he's going to end up in another battle with Ken Block and with Baumanis too. Nicely done, Baumanis. That's slamming the door by the finest of margins.
Do you think Loeb went on it? It was a late call there. He thought, yep, let's go for it, but he just went a little bit too hard, caught the loose section, like you say. Dropped a load of time.
If he hadn't caught that lip, I think he might have got away with that, but that's the margins with which these guys are working. It is so tight at the top. So Block now, with these guys behind, Timo will know that, I'm sure. Over the line, they're going to have to go for the Joker on this one. Look at the gap that Solberg has got. Solberg's 2.9 up, fastest lap of the day, 38.4. That is a perfect Joker lap from Solberg. They've been testing here. Thompson reckons they can do it in 4th. We saw Solberg doing it in 4th. Yesterday, Timo just in front of his teammates, so close between him and Block. What a brilliant circuit we've got here in Norway, but look at the gap Solberg's got in front.
That is a great lead he's pulled out there. Pinpoint accuracy on that last lap, into the Joker, pulled the handbrake, just sent it flying.
You've got to be brave to slot in on that exit as well. My goodness me, Timo into the smallest of gaps. The target's 2.43. Solberg's going to take a bat and smash it out of the ballpark as he comes up over the line. Solberg with a 2.40.5 goes 3.3 seconds quicker. Outrageous. That's the pace we've seen from the Polo, and that is why some of the competitors were hoping it. Look how pleased he is. He's always pleased, Solberg, when he sees the checker flag first, but he is over the moon. Great drive. Solberg takes it, smashes it, miles in front, then Ken Block, Timo Baumanis and Sebastian Loeb. Here's where they go in. Solberg to the top. Block, that's a great time by him. He moves into P3, Timo down in P7, but fantastic drive by Petter Solberg. Kristoffersen is still to come in the last race. There he is. He's out of the car. Hopefully we can have a catch up with him.
Petter, the crowd loved that. You clearly loved it. Must have been a relief after Q3.
Q3 was very, very hard, and I knew Ekstrom should have taken the Joker same as me, so he tried to close me off, and when you have the inside lane into the Joker, I have no chance, you know, but my Joker now was absolutely really, really good, you know. I think that was one of the better ones, yeah.
It was a textbook Joker, a round of applause from the crowd, but the time was incredible.
Well, we will see now when the other guys is coming, but generally I'm very happy with everything so far, and I think I will be a top 4 anyway, and for me that's very, very important, you know, to be here in Norway.
Well done, Petter, thank you.
Solberg over the moon, and this is why an absolutely brilliant drive by him. This was the busy run up to the start. Timo tried to shut the door, but Solberg managed to get away with that, but it really came down, well, just fantastic laps, but particularly the Joker, David, was incredible. We'll see it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we just heard it from the horse's mouth in his interview as well. You know, everything went perfectly. Hollywood just went in there, flat out, handbrake, turned it, kept it on the curbs, back out and made the merge with still 3 or 4 car lengths.
Incredible, absolutely brilliant. Look at this. This is him at his absolute best. Look at that. The car on tiptoes as he transitions across the brakes. There's the exit to the Joker. He's on the gas way before, and it's absolutely marvellous. Watch this merge. This was incredible. Balmanis just checking up enough to miss the back of Timosyanov. Timosyanov saying, do you know what, I'm going in that gap, whatever happens, and he made it through. But Solberg out front, can anybody beat that in the last race? We've just got one more to come. On to the last race then of Q4, and this is the battle for the top qualifier spot, and it's between those 3 guys on the left-hand side of the grid. Johan Kristoffersen, Andreas Backerud and Matthias Ekström are on the inside. Kevin Eriksson, Topi Heikkinen. New tyre for Ekström front right, and also for Heikkinen front right. I think it will probably go the way of Ekström or Backerud, and believe it or not, neither of those guys has had a TQ top qualifier so far this year. Can Backerud get it at home? Can Ekström prove the Audi's got the pace in the dry? Is Kristoffersen going to destroy them like Solberg did in the previous race? We're going to find out very soon indeed. Off the line, Backerud's got great traction. He might be able to shut the door here, and Kristoffersen gives him the squeeze all the way down to turn 1. Contact between those 2. Kristoffersen gives him a nudge. Eriksson's gone up the inside. Backerud's going to be on the left. There's more contact. Backerud's being pushed round. I wonder if Kristoffersen gets told off. Backerud's on the gas. Is he going to hold on to that? That's a great piece of car control from Backerud. He's lost a ton of time. Kristoffersen sideways too. I wonder if Kristoffersen's got damage on the rear left, but Backerud, how did he hold on to that? Kristoffersen's got a puncture rear left. Kristoffersen's gone. Eriksson's going to try and go around the outside. Topi Heikkinen will realise soon enough that he's on a go slow. Heikkinen will look up the inside. Kristoffersen's trying to hold on, but he's not going to be able to do a Hockenheim here. Sideways again. Heikkinen looks up the inside. Ekström now, look, he's on the back of the train, having taken his Joker. What a first lap, David Binks, your turn.
Just to let you calm down a bit there, yes. I mean, Backerud, this is actually playing his hands a little bit. You know, he got pushed all around there. He lost a load of time, but luckily Ekström got held up by Kristoffersen, holding up the other 2. So, you know, he's actually managed to keep that car on the track for all that.
Yeah, how he managed to hold on to that through turn 2 is beyond me. Absolutely brilliant car control. Kristoffersen, unfortunately, there was contact between them. We'll look at the replays afterwards. Ekström's going to take this, I'm pretty sure, and that'll give him TQ. Heikkinen has jokered, but with those guys holding each other up, Ekström was straight on the back of the pack at the end of lap 1, and although Backerud has held on, it's going to cost him. Does he joker now or later?
It would be sensible to do it now if he can. Again, it's a bit of a call. The team's obviously going to push it like there. He's going to run round, so they're going to have to push it till the last lap.
Try and gap him.
Can he? You know, we saw actually that the Audis were a little bit slow in the dry running, so he might be able to pull out another second. 3.6
at the minute between Backerud and Ekström. That's about what we think it is. My goodness me, this could be the closest merge we've seen so far. 3 out of 4, so Backerud is going to go for another lap, we think, before he'll go to the Joker, and it's going to depend. Mansfield, his spotter, David Mansfield, will be looking at the clock right now to see Backerud bars it on the way into the right-hander. Up and over the jump. Here he comes, pulling gears. Last lap, he's got to go now. So we're going to see whether or not the gap's 3.8, so that should be enough, but this will be close. Backerud hooked it up really nicely in the Joker. That comes through the merge. And it is enough. Those 2/10s, David Binks, making all the difference.
Yes, he had to just pull a nice lap together on that last lap, Andrew. He kept everything tight. He knows the track. He knows this is his home crowd. This is a Norwegian. He wants to be at the front for this. So, yeah, nice and pinpoint accuracy. Coming through on the last lap and did it.
2:40.5 is the target time for Solberg. This would be a good indicator of what the semi-finals pace will be like if it remains dry. These two, remember, are fighting for the top qualifier spot. It's going to be very, very close. Has Backerud got enough to match Solberg if it comes to the fight in the semis and the final? Not according to that. 3 seconds for Solberg, although Backerud lost a lot, remember, in turn 1. They like it, yes. People in fancy dress can't beat that up in the crowd. Waving, they'll be chanting for Backerud as well. Great race, but my goodness me, that was some car control. Here comes Kristoffersen, the car injured, and so is he, remember. He's got a badly hurt right foot, having been knocked down by Loeb's car in the pre-grid. Complete accident, we've mentioned it a few times, but he wasn't looking. The mechanics were pushing the car, they weren't looking, and unfortunately Johan has got a badly hurt right foot. Makes it round to the finish. Johan Kristoffersen in last, Heikkinen P4, Eriksson P3, Ekström P2. Backerud won the last race, but it wasn't enough to win Q4. Solberg has taken that, and we're going to have a catch-up with Bakkerud now.
Andreas, I'm not quite sure how you survived lap 1, but you did, and you won the race.
Yeah, it felt good, like solid, calm, and nice. I think it was a good battle, proper rallycross, and I think crowd enjoyed it. So did I. Especially when you win a battle like that, it's a crucial moment. I needed to beat Ekström, I needed to beat Johan. I'm not sure the grid position, but we should be in pole in either of the semis.
Well done.
Here's another look at that start. So look for the contact with Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson now, but that wasn't where he gets his puncture, unless he can't already have it. Where is it? We can't see. On the way down to the next turn. So Kristoffersson over the curbs. I reckon he's pulled it off on the inside of the curbs, David.
A bit of sideways push off the other car, hit the curb, it's folded it off the bead. But yeah, we saw, you know, Andreas there, he literally had to keep it on throttle, just balancing it all the way around, because if he'd lifted, the car would have snapped and gone off the track. That was perfect car control.
Very, very nice car control from Andreas Bakkerud to hold on. It cost him dear in terms of time, but he still managed to hold off Ekström, so that would suggest that the Ford is possibly the best of the rest. I wonder if Johan, with his hurt foot, will be able to keep up in the semis and the final. We'll find out soon enough. Qualifying is over. Just the semis and the finals to come. Qualifying then is over, and here is how they stand at the end of Q4. Andreas Bakkerud is top qualifier at home in Norway, so that last race was enough to see him ahead of Ekström. He will be over the moon with that, and that is his first top qualifier of the year. Mattias Ekström in P2, Solberg up to P3, Kristoffersson in P4. 4 different winners at the 4 different qualifying sessions, but ominously for this afternoon, the 2 dry sessions won by the 2 VWs. Sebastian Loeb is P5, Block, Kevin Hansen, Rainis Nittish, great results for those two. Timosjanov P9, Heikkinen P10, Scheider and Hansen have both squeezed their way in. Fantastic job by them, but unfortunate for Kevin Eriksson, Yannis Baumanis, they just miss out, of course, along with everybody else below 12th place. Crowd anticipating the start of the RX2 final. Those guys are rolling up to the grid and getting ready to do battle for round 3 here in Norway. Of course, Cyril Raymond has won the first couple with Dan Rook in P2 at those 2 events, and they are both in this final. So let's have a look. Cyril Raymond on pole position with Tanner Witten alongside him. Good result for Witten to be there. William Nilsson and Dan Rook. He needs to do well from row 2 to continue his championship form. At the back of the grid, Glenn Haug and Andreas Backman. So they're all being shown from the looks of things, David, the slippery flag, the red and yellow striped flag in the background, and that is because they've watered the track to keep the dust down. Cyril Raymond pulling on the gloves. Nervous times for these guys.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're running through what's going to happen off the start line, that first corner, Andrew, and, you know, really trying to set a little bit of strategy. Obviously, it might change by the time they get there, but you've got to have something in your mind that you're going to focus on trying to do as it pans out in front of you.
An idea.
An idea. And as in Rallycross, it's all going to change within 100 yards off the start line.
They've done their semi-finals, of course, in similar conditions, where they've had the track watered. In fact, it was very, very slippery, and Dan Rook's spotter was stood right next to our commentary position. We could hear him warning him. Rook was in the second semi-final, so had a good idea at least of how slippery it was going to be. Marshals are about to leave the grid, waiting for the thumbs up from race control, and then we'll be away. Look at the crowd behind, absolutely packed house. They've been lucky, got away with the weather so far.
Yeah, nice sunny day.
Still a 30 or 40% chance of rain in the next hour. There they are, look up on the banks. The track falls steeply away to the left there. So they get a great view from the top. Here we go, thumbs up from the marshal on the pole position. He slides back towards the back of the grid with all the other guys. Raymond on the front, on the inside. Witten alongside him. Dan Rook on the outside on row 2. away from the line. Witten looked like he bogged a little bit, but on the inside, Raymond is defending hard. Dan Rook, I think, will try and go to the Joker, but is he going to go standard lap? Rook changes his mind at the last second, goes to the Joker, and he's gone on his own. At the minute, Raymond is leading. Witten has a little look up the inside, but can't quite get through. And then it's Nilsson, I think, who's made it up into P3 on the standard lap. So Dan Rook on his own in the Joker.
Yeah, could be a good move. I was expecting more to go in with him, but, you know, he's out there now. He's going to have to catch up. But the problem we've got 5 other cars there, Andrew, that, you know, it could let Raymond get a little bit of a lead ahead.
So Raymond, do you think, will hold on to the end of the race? And then, I guess, for him behind, he's hoping some of these guys will be slow and that Rook will be held up by them.
That's right. They're going to hopefully get a bit of, you know, trying to pass each other. It slows them down. Tanner's already under a bit of pressure from Nilsson, so that's going to slow him down. I would think you'll either see Tanner or Nilsson go for the Joker as well.
Here we go then, coming up towards the end of the first lap. You can see from the tick at the top of your screen, and there we go. Nilsson pushes Tanner Witten into a big slide. Witten lights the throttle up, manages to hold on to the RX2 car as he exits through there. Dan Rook, I think, is going to manage to get past Nilsson. As a result of that, Nilsson does come out behind Rook at the back of the field. They're just about to come into your shot now. There they are, heading down the hill towards the gravel hairpin at the bottom, and that's played into Cyril Raymond's hands nicely.
Definitely. You know, he's opened up a gap there now. You know, with Tanner, it was as though Nilsson thought that Tanner might have took the Joker, and then all of a sudden he didn't. He went on the brakes and he was right up behind him.
Track conditions have changed again since the semi-finals. It was wetter than this for them on the previous run. The wipers are all still on. This is going okay for Rook so far. So Rook's gap back is 3.6 seconds. Witten up towards the Joker, doesn't go. None of the top 4 have gone. So okay. So now Rook's 6.2 back. And what do we think the Joker's worth here?
Well, I think we're at about, to be honest, we were 4.5 in the Supercar in the wet. It's wet again. I think we could be around 5 to 6, actually. So it could be a very close merge, as long as it stays as it is. Now, Dan's got a clear track ahead of him. He's got quite a bit to go before he's going to catch up on the other cars. So as long as he just puts consistent laps in now for the next couple of laps, if Raymond doesn't make any mistakes, it's going to stay roughly the same. It's
going to be tough for him against Raymond this year, because Raymond, of course, is not only competing here, but he's competing over in the States, which is meaning that he's just getting a little bit more seat time than Dan. There he is. Up and over the jump. Not quite such a big jump for these guys. Very, very loud as they come past the 10 tall spotters tower where we are in the commentary position. Nilsson is giving Rook quite a hard time, and that's not going to help him, because obviously he's having to concentrate on defending a little bit as well.
That's right. You know, once another car comes onto the back of you, you start to have to watch your mirrors. He's starting to get nudged a little bit, so he's going to have to defend. Defending generally doesn't mean you're going to go as quick, so he needs to try and just not think too much about Nilsson being behind him, just keep pushing forward. We know Dan's a smooth driver, he's come from British Supercar, you know, he's got a lot of skill sets, he's just here learning more tracks, more driving time. And, you know, if he just keeps his head, I think he'll be all right. He'll definitely come and slot back out in second place.
8 seconds back at the minute, so he is losing time. Cyril Raymond continues on the standard lap. We can see from the commentary position that he has not gone to the Joker this time round. Slotting into the Joker. Oh, super wide. It's Bachmann. Bachmann, though, great job. First time through to the semi-finals, in fact, here, and has made it through to the final.
That's right. You know, he's had a good run this weekend, and he's made it through there. Bit of a mistake. You know, it's like what we said before all day. They've been running on the dry till the semis, and, you know, he went in there a little bit hard, a little bit offline, locked up on the wet, slippery stuff. Slid out wide.
And he can be helped as much with that by his spotter, can't he? Basically, you know, saying, just watch out, it's slippery in there, you need to be careful.
Yeah, they probably saw as well, you know, they're looking at the times, and they saw Rook had dropped down to 8, he had a 6-second gap to try and get back out, so he made the move.
Raymond goes into the Joker lap. Bit of understeer on the way in, but he gets in close towards the apex, and I think he's going to be miles in front. He is. Tanner Witten, I think, is going to get Dan Rook as well. Rook will be hoping to hold on to a podium position here. He's been P2 at the last couple of events. It's super close between him and Tanner Witten. Nilsson has a look up the inside of Rook. Rook has a look up the inside of Witten. There's a little bit of contact between them. They're racing now for P2. Dan Rook really needs P2, because so far Cyril Raymond has won all of the events, and is looking odds-on for a third win here. He's right up behind Witten, but he can't quite get past. He's got to defend from Nilsson behind as well. Whereabouts is Cyril Raymond? He is in the final corner and untroubled. The Frenchman is on for a clean sweep of the championship so far. He takes his third win in RX2 here in Norway. Who's going to be second up over the line? It's going to be Witten. Great result for Tanner Witten. He had a third in Belgium. That's his first, second place. And Dan Rook, for the first time, is not P2. He drops down to P3, but still good for his championship hopes. Decent race in RX2. Rook there, this is a new circuit for him, you know, so he's up against learning the circuits as well as having to compete with Cyril Raymond, who's getting a lot of seat time. So Frenchman Raymond takes the win from Witten in P2, Dan Rook P3, then Nielsen, Haug and Andreas Bachmann. Well done to Andreas Bachmann on making his first final in the very competitive RX2 class. There's Raymond up on the roof of the car, running the number 13. He's going to need to change that if he makes it to the World Championship, because Andreas Bachmann has claimed that one. Here he is off the line, so gets a decent start on the inside. Watch this, Dan Rook here. He loses a little bit of time with that last-minute decision, but actually, David, I think it was the right thing to do.
I think it was the right as well. You know, he was tucked right up behind Tanner there, and he had to dive out a little bit late. Lost in a split second, but not a lot. We saw Nielsen then run wide in the Joker. He slowed himself down, but he came back out behind Dan. You know, good tussle all the way through. It's such close racing, this. You can see that, you know, when Dan came out behind Nielsen, he able to roll in, roll out the corners. They're taking different lines, a bit more curved than one or the other, and it's just really exciting to watch.
Fair, strong racing too, like nothing too much over the top in terms of contact. We saw a little bit of nudging here, but Rubbing's racing. Great job though by Cyril Raymond. 3 wins in a row. Can anyone stop him? Nicely done for the French driver. Having to fly back and forth, of course, over to the States. Although he's getting all that seat time, it is hard work. He's making it look pretty easy at the minute. 4 rounds, of course, of RX2 still to go. Fans waving to themselves, usually on the big screen. If you're waving, it usually means you've spotted yourself on the big screen. There's the Drive for Life inflatable up at the top. That, of course, is the official charity of the European Rallycross Championship for Supercars. Crowd heading to their positions, ready for the semi-finals.
Cyril, massive round of applause there from the Norwegian fans. You're completely unbeatable this year. How do you do it?
I think it was very good in the final. I'm very happy about the team because he did a great job all along the weekend. I'm very happy about my teammates, finished P2. It's the best result for me and for the team, so I'm very happy.
Well done, hope it continues.
Thank you.
Should be very happy, great performance by him. Really good. Now let's have a look at the championship standings and we can see how big the gap is. So what was it before? It was 4 points before, Raymond leading from Rook, and now we can see it's gone up to 12 points. So Rook here having to learn the circuit has allowed Raymond to get away a little bit, but these guys are still going to Sweden, Canada, France and South Africa, so there's plenty of time. Look at the different nationalities in this fantastic championship as well. So 6 different nationalities in the top 6. So, on to the World Championship and the Supercar semi-finals. We are in the Spotters Tower, which is right next to the jump. The noise here is incredible as they come past, but at the minute, there's a low rumble in the background, isn't there, David? And there's that nervous anticipation of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, it's that sort of, you know, once you're in a race paddock, you know, and you can hear the cars burbling away in the background. All the guys are starting to get strapped in and get the helmets on, still having a bit of chat about who's going to go where. You know, it's when everybody starts to get interested and excited, and we're excited, aren't we?
Very much, very much. Ekstrom nearly took his first TQ of the year. He went to Backerud. Solberg's had 2. Scheider 1, Loeb 1, Christopherson 1. But with the wet conditions, the VW didn't work quite so well. And those guys were very, very pleased, of course, to see Andreas Backerud on that top step. They'll be even more pleased if he's on the top step come the end of the final. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Norwegians pleased too if this man can do it. Petter Solberg was so quick in Q4, it was frightening. Takes a deep breath, 3 seconds faster, and he's hidden himself away in the car there quite early. He is, of course, in the first semi-final. It's not for a few minutes yet. Can Solberg do it in the dry? Can Backerud beat him at home? We're going to find out soon enough. Applause from the crowd. They're very happy. I'm sure that it's not raining like it was yesterday. Backerud tightens his belts. He'll do that again several times. They get tighter and tighter and tighter until he can't quite breathe. And then it's go time. Kitten just nervously moving his knees. Looks across at the camera, a little nod. Lots of Latvian support here for Baumanis and for Nitish. Nitish has made it through to the semi-finals. Yanis hasn't this time. Huge amount of Swedes here as well, of course. And they'll all be disappointed if Sebastian Loeb beats all the locals, won't they? Thumbs up from Loeb as they continue to clean the screen. Just moments away from sending the cars into the pre-grid. And the semi-finals for round 6 of the FA World Rallycross Championship. Halfway point in the season. Joker lap is looking pretty slippery. This is going to be exciting. You join us in Norway for round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from the fantastically named Hell. It's very nice here, much nicer today than it was yesterday. The fans are out in their droves. Yesterday they were under waterproofs and umbrellas, but today they are here with big smiles on their faces, beers in their hands, and looking forward to seeing whether or not they can get a home win. My name is Andrew Coley. Alongside me is David Binks. Neil Cole is reporting from the paddock and the spotters tower. If you've missed all the action so far, we can bring you up to date by showing you where everyone is in qualifying. So Andreas Backrud taking his first TQ of the year from Matthias Ekström and Petter Solberg. Solberg and Backrud both desperate to win it. Christopherson Lowe blocked with another 6th in qualifying. Great job by him. Kevin Hansen and Rainis Nitish, both the 3rd cars for Peugeot and Audi, making it through. Timo Scheider and Scheider and Hansen fought tooth and nail for those last 2 places in the top 12. So the top 16 get points, but only the top 12 go to the semis. Odd numbers go to semi-final 1, even numbers to semi-final 2. So, oh wow, Backrud and Solberg on the front row in the first semi-final. Expect fireworks. Can't wait for this. I'm sure the crowd can't as well. Can hear the engines being revved up behind us. Neil Cole managed to have a catch-up with Timmy Hansen just shortly before we got to the semi-finals. Of course, Timmy had that massive crash earlier today.
Well, Timmy, it's great to see that you made the semi-final. You're at the back row, but it's incredible considering what happened in the qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was prepared to change clothes and go home, but you know, it's not the first time that I see this spark in the mechanics' eyes, and I rolled very badly in Finland in Q3. I managed to get the car back on the grid. I had a fire in Hockenheim. They were able to put the car back on the grid, and I think they've done it for a 3rd time. That what shouldn't be possible. I thought this car was rubbish after that incident, but they managed to put it together, and even that well that I could just qualify for the semi by 1 point. So it's really great to be here. Even though I'm on the back, I'm happy to be in the semi.
And we can see that in a busy race, you can easily make up a few places.
Absolutely, this is Rallycross.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they did do a brilliant job to get the car back out. Semi-finals coming up next, but here is a look at what we've got for you in the whole of the next action-packed hour. So first of all, the World RX Supercar semi-finals live. The top 3 will go through and the bottom 3 will go no further. Then we're on to the European Rallycross Championship for Supercars. More Supercar action for you. It is their round 2 here. And then, of course, we have the final for the World Rallycross Championship's 6th round in 2017. Norway, this is one that a lot of these guys are desperate to win. And, of course, with it being the halfway point in the championship, we get to see where everyone stands. David Binks, very quickly indeed, this is pressure time for these guys.
Yeah, you know, these guys have all worked hard over again. We had wet on Saturday, we had dry today. They've dialed in their settings, they're on the start line, it's all about the kick-off. And like you said, 2 Norwegians on the front row, this is going to be better than the final. Hopefully they're both on the final. But,
It could be absolutely better than the final. We've had lots of semi-finals where we've had a bit more action than some would like. There are the spotters for Hoonigan Racing Division. David Mansfield and Forrest Duplessis. Okay, let's have a look at the grid then for semi-final one. On the front row, Andreas Backerud and Petter Solberg. All new tyres for Solberg, new tyres for Backerud on the front. Is he trying to save a pair for the final, or has he used them already today? Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Hansen. Sebastian Loeb on all new tyres. Remember, it was wet yesterday. And bringing up the rear, Timo Scheider and Timo Scheider, all on brand new tyres. So we shouldn't see tyres as an excuse today. There is the Teng Tool Spotters Tower where we are perched at the far end. Looking forward to seeing 6 cars come hacking past on the way up to turn 1. There's the signal from the marshal. He walks back. You're on board with Backerud. He's hard on the handbrake. It'll be the same in Solberg's car and everyone else on this grid as we ramp up for a brilliant start to the semi-finals. Great start by Kevin Hansen on the outside row. Solberg moves across the block low. Backerud is on the inside. Where's Backerud going to go? Backerud and Solberg both go to the Joker together. So does Kevin Hansen and Timo Scheider. Scheider's going to try and go the inside. Backerud gets a notch. Solberg is in the bank on the outside. Disaster for Per Solberg. It does not go his way in Norway. Loeb and Timosjanov are on the standard lap. And what order are they in? Sebastian Loeb is leading from Timosjanov.
What do you say about that? I mean, Andreas knew if he could take from the inside line, take Solberg in there and got him behind him, then it was down to out-and-out racing. So it was a really good call by Andreas.
Very tidy indeed. And of course, with the damp track, it's the tarmac we think is the difference with the VW from what the drivers have been saying in terms of dryness. And now Solberg has got to fight his way past because he's P4, and the other guys, even if the other guys Joker and end up behind him, he's got to get past at least Kevin Hansen.
I was really impressed with Scheider as well. He got a lot of wheel spin off the back of the start line, Andrew, but he managed to come up the outside. It fit in well that he went into the Joker, but then the door opened for him. He got up the inside of Hansen, I think it was, and then that pushed Solberg out.
Sebastian Loeb leading from Timosjanov. Let's not forget Timosjanov's form here last year. I think he would have beaten Backerud. He would have stopped that clean sweep if he hadn't had a puncture. So Timosjanov always goes well in Norway. He's one of these guys going to try and release themselves and go to a Joker early. They won't want to end up in that pack of 4 cars that are fighting hard behind.
That's right. We saw that yesterday, that if in the wet conditions, they would Joker early, get back out and catch up. But now you say you've got the cars behind are all going to be fighting. He's got the Joker. He's got to be careful. You can see the water. He's out wide. He manages to rotate the car. He's keeping it in tight. He's going to come back out behind Andreas Backerud, but that's not bad. He's brilliant.
Fantastic job by Timosjanov. So Timosjanov slots himself in now. It's only Sebastian Loeb to go. Loeb needs to go soon if these guys, he's going to be in the middle of this train, or does he hold on and wait to the end of the race, try and gap everyone?
He's 3.7 seconds ahead of Backerud at the minute. That is going to be tight to go in and out.
Solberg up the inside. He's got him, so Solberg got Kevin Hansen. Solberg has got Kevin Hansen, puts himself up into P5, backs the car in, up and over the crest. Sebastian Loeb is going to be key here to whether or not Petter Solberg is going to need to pass somebody to make it through or not. 5 guys on hill. He's going to have to get past Scheider anyway. So Solberg's going to have to make another pass, and Sebastian Loeb holds on for another lap. So this Solberg, it just doesn't seem to go his way at home in Norway, but this is not over yet.
Well, we've just seen there that, you know, Backerud's catching Loeb now. He's dropped another 0.2 of a second on that lap. So, you know, he's got to go to the end. If he goes in now, he's not going to come back out in front of him.
But it's a question of where he's going to come out in this pack, isn't it? Is he going to make it through or not? Semi-final number 1. 5 people have jokered. Sebastian Loeb has not. You saw the Joker predictor at the bottom of your screen on the last lap. Backerud has managed to gap these guys. Timosjanov, Scheider and Solberg running a line. Solberg, look, with wheels up the curves on the inside. He will be trying every trick in the book. Sebastian Loeb waits another lap. So Loeb is going to go on the final lap, and Solberg will be just so keen to find a way past, but where can he do it? Maybe the bottom of the hill.
Well, the other option is, you know, he's going to come out in mid-pack, so all of a sudden, oh, he's caught up again.
He has, it's tighter, so Loeb, it's tighter on the merge with Loeb, so Backerud had slightly more. Loeb was putting a quick lap there. Solberg's up the inside of Scheider. Solberg passes Scheider. He wants to make it through, so where is Loeb going to come out? Is Solberg going to manage to come through or not? So Sebastian Loeb is the key to whether or not Petter Solberg, I think, can make it through to the semi-final. Got Backerud, Timosjanov and Solberg. Loeb goes into the Joker lap now. Here we go, the Frenchman on the handbrake, gets the car rotated early. He's hard on the gas, and I think he's going to come out in front. He is. So Solberg now has to pass Timosjanov, but he's made it past 2. Can he do one more?
He has. He's done it in the same place both laps. So watch as it come down the hill. He's really on a mission. He's rotating the car. He's getting it up the inside. He's looking for that half a gap now, Andrew, to get up the inside of Timosjanov. And hey, he's the sort of guy that can do it.
And he hasn't managed to get Timo there, so unless Timo makes a mistake now, Solberg is in P4. Look at it, it's just 2 tenths between him and booking a slot in his home final. But Andreas Backerud is going to book a slot on the front row, just like he did last year. Backerud wins semi-final #1. Sebastian Loeb goes through in P2, and Timo Scheider has denied Solberg at home. Petter Solberg will not make the final in Norway. Wow. So Solberg doesn't make the final, and neither, so no, just Solberg from this one. So Solberg is one of our 4 drivers who's made the final everywhere. Andreas Backerud wins semi-final 1 from Sebastian Loeb and Timo Scheider, but Solberg, for the first time this year, does not make it through to the final, and it's at home in Norway. Neil is up in the spotter's tower, and he is with Andreas Backerud's team and spotter.
Dave, that couldn't have gone much better. What an impressive drive.
Yeah, we knew Petter was going to be strong, so there was only one option for us, really. Had to drag him in with us. It worked really well. Couldn't believe that we managed to pull it off, to be honest. And then just Andreas kept his cool, made his way through the pack as everyone joked. We're in the final.
But it wasn't always clear that he was going to be ahead of Loeb, but in the end it played out right.
Yeah, just making it so that we didn't have any risk in the early laps, and then try and take a bit out of him towards the 4th and 5th. And then we know where we are as a guide then. And just enough. The Jokers have just been watered as well, so it was a bit longer than normal. So with that played into our favour doing it first lap, so spot on.
Very smart, well done.
Thank you.
Great drive from Andreas Backerud. We're on board with Solberg, who will be super disappointed, David, not to make the final for the first time this year, here of all places, and when he did so well in Q4.
I was going to say, he put the pedal to the metal in Q4 and showed what the VW can do. He set 3 second lap quick, 3 seconds in the heat quicker than anybody else of the weekend. Unfortunately, great move by Andreas Backerud, but unlucky for Solberg to get hung out dry there.
He did well to pass 2 people, to be fair, without using the joke lap. When he went in 4th, or when he came out in 4th from the joke lap, he must have thought to himself, oh no, you know, not game over. He's never give up, isn't he, Solberg? But he managed to find his way past a couple of the guys down here at the bottom. This was the first pass look on Kevin Hansen, very, very tidy, and it was exactly the same move as you pointed out on Scheider.
Yeah, got the traction as he came around the corner, kept it in tight and managed to pull up the inside of them. Does the same again in a minute. There, look, right on the curb, nice drive through. Yeah, a little bit of contact, that's racing. Up the inside, perfect, pinpoint accuracy.
Fantastic. Andreas Backerud slotting in just in front of Sebastian Loeb. But Backerud will be on the front row in the final. That's going to please the old Backerud fan club. Talking to the Backerud fan club, there they are. My favourite one's at the front. I can't remember the outfit. Someone remind me. They're absolutely loving it, aren't they? They were loving it at our hotel until about 4 in the morning. They kept Timo Scheider awake. He wasn't very happy, so he'll need to book himself a room on the far side of the hotel like we do, with a bit more experience of the Backerud fans. Great semi-final #1 with an unexpected result. So in semi-final 2, we've got 3 drivers who've made all the finals. Ekström, Kristoffersson and Timmy Hansen. And Hansen in P6 on the grid is going to be possibly having to fight his way right the way through if he wants to make it. Otherwise, we might be looking at only 2 drivers who've made it through. We're going to have a ride on board with Solberg.
Yeah, so you see there that Andreas came through. He was a little bit of a touch from Kevin Hansen. You know, he got hung out dry, but unfortunately, it wasn't anybody doing anything wrong. It was just the fact the cars were sliding on that wet, loose stuff, and he got pushed to the outside. Wrong place, wrong time. And unfortunately, that's all it takes to not make the semi-final.
This was the pass look on Kevin. No, sorry, this is coming down the hill, isn't it? So that's turn 1 into turn 2. I wonder if we'll see the pass on Kevin from here. So he's lovely over on the left-hand side, look over to the right, and now if he's going to get the line for the exit, he'll come wide. Okay, so we're not seeing that. So he's up behind Scheider. 5th gear down the hill, look, 4th, 3rd. With a handbrake on the inside, yeah. And that's where he knows he's got Scheider, and sees Timo Scheider wider, but he's thinking, come on, but there's the wall earlier that he shut the door on Hansen on, of course.
That's right, and as you come over the crest down, you can see there's a little bit like, look at Timo Scheider, the car's all over, back with Loeb there, you know, he had to push hard all the way through, and he did, he left it right at the last lap. Very, very careful, you could see that could have gone really wrong, and he could have gone out wide, but he just kept it in tight, came back out behind Backerud, great result for him.
He was closer to Backerud than I thought he was going to be, Sebastian Loeb, to be fair. He was the sleeper, you know, because, of course, we were focusing on what Solberg was up to. Some tweets coming in at the bottom there. Andy Gray, how did Backerud hold on to that in Q4? Yes, amazing driving, we agree. Williams 77, just in time for FIA World RX So Much Motorsport today. Glad you can join us. Backerud coming round, there we are. Some more amazing driving, aside from that hold in Q4. Taking the checker flag in semi-final number 1. And here's the onboard of him crossing the line. I wonder if he knew that Solberg hadn't made it at that point. Another semi-final to go to decide the positions, who's going to go through. So with Solberg out, let's have a look at championship standings. Solberg was in P3 before this one. Kristoffersen, Ekstrom and Timmy Hansen are first, second and fourth. Backerud was down in 6th in the standings. Backerud on 73 points compared to Kristoffersen on 124. So Backerud could do with closing that gap down a bit. I'm sure he would be very happy if Kristoffersen, Ekstrom or Hansen don't make it through. We'll find out soon enough. Semi-final 2 from Norway coming up for us next. That is the view down the valley. We haven't been able to see that most of the day today because of the rain, but it is dry for the semis. The first one was action-packed, the second one should be more of the same. So let's have a look at the grid for semi-final number 2. Mattias Ekstrom and Johan Kristoffersen, P1 and P2 in the championship, and they're up on the grid together. Ekstrom with 2 new tyres on the front, Kristoffersen new boots all round. Ken Block and Reinis Nitish on row 2. Block's gone for 2 new, Reinis for 3. And on the rear, Topi Heikkinen and Timmy Hansen. Timmy Hansen on used tyres, Topi on 3 new. So Timmy is 4th in the championship. He's made every final this year so far, along with, as I've said previously, Kristoffersen, Ekstrom and Solberg. Solberg has not made it. So are we going to go down to 2 title fighters who've made it at every one? And of course, don't count Solberg out. He's only missing out on a few points here. And that VW is viciously fast. What can Kristoffersen do with the VW from the front row? He starts where Solberg did. Is Ekstrom going to push him wide on the Joker with similar tactics? Ken Block has to dent the clutch. Heikkinen pulls out from behind him. Behind his teammate Nitish. Nitish in behind Kristoffersen. Heikkinen's going to go Joker. Kristoffersen's gone with him. Ekstrom goes into the standard lap. Ken Block and Reinis Nitish alongside each other on the run down in the background. Oh, it's Heikkinen who runs up the bank, I think, was it? Maybe it was Nitish. Yeah, it was Heikkinen. So Nitish on the standard lap with Block, and there is Kristoffersen. So Kristoffersen leading the drivers who've jokered. Ken Block on the end of the tail, and Ekstrom who's out front. So this time the strategy's been split, David.
Yes, and I think you saw quite a definite decision there by the EKRS cars that some were going to go to the Joker. Heikkinen, unfortunately, again like we saw with Solberg, out wide. 3 don't go into 1 on a dry on a wet line. That's got to be the only bit of grip, and unfortunately he ended up worse off.
And of course they've got 3 cars in this same semi-final, so they could at least make a firm plan, a semi-firm plan before they headed up there. Kristoffersen already looking to get onto the back of this train of 3 cars. Ken Block 1.5 back from Ekstrom. Look, Kristoffersen's only 3.8 back already, and with the Joker lap being wet, we still think it's what, in the region of 4?
4.5 yesterday, Andrew, in the real wet. But I mean, Heikkinen's only 6.4 back, so again, he's not out of it yet. He can still push on.
Going to be tight between them. I wonder if Ekstrom will go in response to Kristoffersen closing him down the background. They'll have to look at the lap times, I suppose, over these next 2 and maybe see whether or not he's quicker. Kristoffersen, remember, driving with an injured foot after an incident in the pre-grid on Friday. He's done a brilliant job so far. Ken Block super sideways up into the Joker. That's a great Joker lap from that angle by Ken Block. A little bit too much understeer on the exit. He's going to try and come back in front of Timmy Hansen. He's not going to manage it, but he does get out in front of Topi Heikkinen. So Heikkinen down into P6. Block slotting in from his 3rd place, having taken his Joker. He falls back behind Timmy Hansen. So Timmy, as I say, desperate to fight his way up into a slot in the final. Ekstrom and Nitish still to go.
Yeah, I wonder whether Nitish would have gone for the Joker lap there. Sorry, Ekstrom would have gone for the Joker lap there and left Nitish out there just to be able to sort of back the other cars up a little bit. But obviously, you know, they're still racing in the team's championship, and they're also in the drivers' championships as well.
Ken Block ran a bit wide as he came over the crest. Heikkinen managed to close him down behind. My goodness me, it is so loud here when they come past our position. Kristoffersen is right up behind. Look at this. And in fact, you see, this could play into Ekstrom's hands as well, because Nitish, in effect, can play rear gunner. I don't think he will, because he'll be putting himself in danger of not making it through. Nitish is a bit wide in the hairpin. Kristoffersen trying to find the traction, but he can't get near enough to him. 2 laps to go, and Ekstrom is out front, but only by a couple of seconds. And Kristoffersen, to me, is booking a slot in the front row here.
He certainly is, Andrew. I mean, that VW through this track in the dry this weekend has been absolutely phenomenal. We saw Solberg 3 seconds quicker than anybody else. Kristoffersen's had a problem with his foot, but when he's in that car, he's keeping his foot buried to the floor, and that car is absolutely performing. Yes, he's been held up a little bit by Nitis there, but you know, Nitis is pushing on. You can see locks and wheels up going down the hill on the tarmac. We'll maybe see it again here when he comes down into the bottom gravel hairpin.
And it's probably not going to be enough, is it? As I say, looking at this, you know, I don't think that Nitis again backs it into the hairpin. Nicely done, to be fair, holds on to it. A little bit tidy behind him by Kristoffersen. It's going to come down to the Joker from Ekstrom, who's up tight on the wall on the right, and then on the left he runs a little bit wide on the exit in towards the curbs. And here we go then, Joker time. Kristoffersen versus Ekstrom 2.5. This should be absolutely a done deal. The first two cars are going to slot left up at turn 1. Ekstrom over the braking zone. Very tidy indeed by Ekstrom. That's a perfect Joker. A little bit of understeer for Nitis in the background, but Kristoffersen's out in front.
And Timmy Hansen's managed to come back out in front of Nitis as well. That means that as long as he does everything right, he's going to make the final. You know, it's absolutely perfect. He had a terrible qualifying heat in Q3 when he got to put in the wall. And then, you know, they rebuilt the car, he's made the semi, and if he just does what he does...
Oh, and he's run wide, as you say that, David. Timmy ran wide, but he just holds on.
Just got held on in there. You see the block. Nitis had a little bit of a run wide as well, so that helped.
Wow, so Timmy Hansen, great spot there. David Binks as well. What a job from him, and what a job from the team. Kristoffersen takes semi-final number 2 from Ekstrom, but Timmy Hansen fights back from that huge smash in Q3, recovers in Q4, scraped his way to the semis, and has just made it through to the final. Brilliant job by Hansen and his team. And it will be Kristoffersen versus Bakkerud on the front row. 3 Swedes going through in Norway. Kristoffersen, Ekstrom and Hansen with their championship points on the right. Ken Block, Topi Heikkinen and Reinis Nitis are out. Oh, good job by Johan. Matthias unable, it seems, to match their pace. So this was the start. You see there where Heikkinen had to avoid Block. Only by a little bit. The grid staggered anyway.
Yeah, again, you saw him. He hesitated on which way he was going. He went in, got a little bit of a touch from Timmy, and then all of a sudden the 3 of them just drift out wide. Once they're on that loose stuff, Andrew, it's just no grip there. It's just a passenger.
And Heikkinen being on the outside was the worst of the passengers, unfortunately for him. Fortunately for Timmy, because Timmy needed to get through there to be able to get the hammer down and try and close the gap.
Great drive by Kristoffersen all over, but back with Ekstrom there. Again, look at the pinpoint. He comes in there, gets it turned, gets it straight back on the grippy stuff, and he comes out into second.
That was as perfect, pretty much as perfect as Solberg's was in Q4. So, absolutely fantastic drive by Johan Kristoffersen, and he is with Neil Cole now.
Johan, a big smile on your face there. It must be relief also. You'll be on the front row of the final in Norway.
Yeah, fantastic. A bit unfortunate for Petter to be not in the final, but anyway, my run was really good. I saw that Matthias slip away a little bit more from Nitis, but I got on the radio, tried to stay calm and don't be too close to Nitis. So I have to say it was fair play, and yeah, I'm very happy to be on the front row.
Well, you haven't got long to the final now, so we'll let you go.
Yeah, they are pushing hard, the mechanics.
Kristoffersen headed back to the paddock for a very quick re-prep. He will be out for his final in about 10-15 minutes time. We've got European Rallycross Championship at Supercars coming next. So we know who is in the final for the World Rallycross Championship. We found out earlier today who was in the final for European Supercars. We've seen some brilliant racing here from them as well. I think 33 European Supercars here this weekend. Crowd up on top of the Monster Energy rig. We can have a look back at some of the action from the semi-finals, which happened just a little while earlier today. Larson on the front of this one with Markland on the inside. David, you were watching these pretty closely, but Larson here, nice and aggressive. Well, nice and aggressive if you're not on the receiving end like Jerome Grosjean was.
No, Larson, I mean, when he makes a move, he decides he's going for it, he goes for it. And he did well, he didn't push him out too far.
Paul Kiss and Markland having a bit of a ding-dong. Paul Kiss had managed to make a pass. Goodness me, lots of contact between them here as well. Rustad up the inside, then a Markland. So Markland in the wars a little bit. Good to see Larson back out competing. It's a shame he's not in the World Championship. Oh, my goodness me, that's a tight squeeze, and that was where Rustad went off. So we saw Rustad had retired. We didn't see how. Now we know. Up and over the jump. And okay, so Marken very, very forceful indeed down at the bottom of the hill on Jerome Grosjean in, but he's showing on the grid, so obviously the stewards didn't take any action on that.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the tarmac, went on the brakes, the door-to-door. 6 and 2/3, isn't it? You know, he was up the inside.
That says the driver. Larson over the line to go through to the front row. Sorry, it wasn't Rustad who went off. Of course, it was Kaliakowski. Rustad was in this one. My bad. Two very similar cars from Albertech Racing. Oh, look at this, Henning Solberg. That was the extra joker, which he took around the outside up on the tarmac section. And unfortunately, he would go no further. So broken steering from the run up to turn 1.
Rustad had quite a clear run then with Haval. You know, they literally just went out there, drove the laps, kept it nice and clean. Great to see the Albertech car doing well, and you know, it was a good run from them for the two of them.
Rustad slotting in, super close between him and Brinterson. Brinterson though just too late on the brakes, and that cost him big time. Brinterson, of course, another driver to have come up through RX2 or RX Lights as it was known. Alexander Wahl, you'll be familiar with this if you've followed us since 2013 and even before. Wahl going very well indeed in the polo. Super close merge between him and his teammate Peter Hedstrom. But it was Rustad who took semi-final number 2. Crowd still all in place. They're also up on the banks on the right-hand side. Cars are lining up on the grid. We'll be with you very shortly for round 2 of European Rallycross Championship for Supercars. Close racing in the semi-finals for European Championship for Supercars. Bit of contact here and there, it has to be said, but these are the guys who've made it through, and you will be familiar with quite a lot of the names if you've been following the World Championship for a little while. Let's have a look at the championship standings for European Rallycross after the semi-finals. So Markland leading from Tamas Paukis. That was how they were in after Barcelona. Ollie O'Donovan was P3 but has dropped down due to not making it quite so far through the competition this time. Robin Larson look is in P3, but a good job by Anton Markland. And all three of those top guys, 4, we've seen them all in World Championship events previously. We've seen Wahl and O'Donovan as well. This is a very competitive championship. Cars are on the grid and they are ready to go for the final of round 2 of the European Rallycross Championship for Supercars. Let's see the lineup. On the pole position then, on the inside, Tommy Rustad with Robin Larson next to him. Those two guys will fight hard. Anton Marken, we saw from the semi-finals, isn't afraid of a bit of contact. Peter Hedstrom is going well too. And then on the back row of the grid, Tamas Paukis and Alexander Wahl. This is a pretty stellar lineup. You wouldn't be surprised if you saw any of these guys in a World Championship final. So expect fireworks here as well. Larson got a podium here in the World Championship a couple of years ago and laid down some of the best donuts we've ever seen around the huge monster can in the centre of the venue. I'm kind of hoping he might do the same for us again today, but he's going to have to beat some very determined competition if he wants to do so. Green light, Rustad's got a good start on the inside. Larson, is he going to go to Joker? Is he going to go standard lap? Larson goes Joker, Rustad stops them all up. Oh, and all the way around the outside. Absolutely fantastic from Hedstrom. Tried to get it done, but couldn't. Now Alexander Wahl's going to pass him on the run down the hill. And Hedstrom will have to be careful not to knock Wahl off. So Wahl and Hedstrom. Hedstrom, I really thought was going to get that done, but David couldn't quite hold on.
Yeah, he just didn't.
Markland up the inside of Rustad. Sorry, David. So Markland's trying to make a pass on Rustad on the very first lap. Rustad got to hold on to the loose stuff up towards the left-hander, and Markland's done it.
Yeah, I mean, once Rustad was on the outside there, up that hill, he just didn't have the traction to stay with him. If he's not careful,
Paukis is going to go
coming as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's done it, so Paukis has gone through, so Rustad going backwards, David.
It makes sense now for Rustad to take the Joker because he's lost a few places. He's got to get in there, come back out, and then he might come out before Haval, but we'll see.
So it's going to be super tight here for Rustad, and Rustad's going to come out just behind Larson. Now he's got to hope that Larson is fast enough to gap Markland and Kiss, because if Markland and Kiss get this done, then they're going to miss out, because Rustad has now dropped in behind Larson.
Well, we saw Markland and Paukis in the qualifying heat earlier, in the semi-final qualifying heat earlier, sorry. They literally they raced hard. So the Peugeot is as quick as the VW on this track. So if they can battle, it might allow Rustad to catch up on the back of Larson and be able to come back out maybe third.
At the minute, Larson looks like he's got a little gap on them. What is it? It's 4.5 from Markman back, and Larson now is 3.8. You're bang on the money, David. Closing down the gap to these front two, Palkis and Markland. They don't look like they're holding each other up at the minute, but Palkis is now right on the tail of Markland.
He's also got a little bit of a grudge from the semi-final because, you know, he was pushed out wide by Markland. So if he can get his own back, he's going to try and get up the inside and give him a little bit of door handling, I think.
They have plenty of door handling before these guys will be paying each other's wing mirror bills, definitely from the semi-finals. Hard racing, but fair apparently. The stewards didn't take any action. Palkis now, I think he's probably getting the hurry up from his spotters because they're going to know that Larson is coming through behind. This, of course, for a win, a coveted European Rallycross Championship win in Supercar.
Palkis, I thought he was going to go the Joker, but he took a little bit of a more wide line to try and get back up the inside on Markland there. Again, you see him, he is being held up by Markland.
He is indeed. Palkis can't find a way through, though. He's going to have a look up the inside on the way down to the hairpin. He goes tight. I thought he might go wide and try and do it, and Palkis has got up the inside, and now we should surely see Markland. He doesn't, so Markland keeps the pressure on. Palkis has to back out or he's in the wall.
Well, he's only 2.8 seconds behind with Larson, so
Rustad's out.
Looks like back suspension damage. Has he clipped a wall or someone pushed him?
Rustad's out, so Tommy Rustad is gone, so that's game over. So this now is about Larson, and at 2.8 seconds, I think Robin Larson is going to be able to do this. Markland goes into the Joker lap now, and Palkis takes the standard lap. Markland with a very, very good Joker indeed, but it's not enough to stop Robin Larson, so Markland now has got to try and defend his position from Kiss when Kiss goes.
Exactly, that was more of a defensive drive in there. He knows he's dropped the first place. He's trying to get back on a podium. Very sensible, probably spotters, like we said. We're watching the times dropping down there. Get in, get out, come into second and try and hold on.
Oh, there's Rustad walks away. That's a shame. Shame for Albertech Racing as well. They've shown great pace this weekend. So Kaliakowski went out in the semis and Rustad goes out in the final. Palkis, with just one lap to go, has to Joker this time. Is he going to come out with a podium position? He was P2 in Spain earlier this year. He sends it into the Joker lap. He's close in on the apex. It's a great job. It's going to be between him and Markland for P2 on the podium. Oh, it's super tight between them. It's contact again. Palkis up the inside of Markland. Markland runs wide. Palkis is over the curbs. That's definitely going to end up in the steward's room. I'm almost certain of that. But out front, Larson is in the clear. Smoke pouring from the back of Markland's car. Markland will have another look up the inside. Is it a puncture? It's not. It's just bodywork. Where is Robin Larson? Robin Larson has checked out the front, and here he is, the ex-World Rallycross man, shows his class with an absolutely brilliant drive. It didn't go his way in Barcelona, but he takes this first win of the European season here in Norway. Larson over the line for the win. Palkis looks like with broken suspension, or certainly out of shape as he came, and Markland's really unhappy. Larson sends it, we knew he would, into the donuts. And there he is. He's very, very happy with that indeed. Careful now, Robin. You don't want a big bill for driving over the curbs and damaging the car. They are very, very big curbs indeed. Great drive.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think Markland, you know, hey, you got a bit of payback from earlier on today, and you can't give it if you're not going to take it. So, bit of a tough one.
Larson taking the win from Palkis and Markland, who did have quite a lot of contact in that race. Will they get those results reversed or not? We'll have to see with the stewards later. Maybe a slight track cut, I think, at the Joker lap merge. Val, Hedstrom and Tommy Rustad with a DNF in the final, but still a championship point. Well, great job by Robin Larson. Rustad's car is being recovered, we can see from the commentary position. Off the line. Okay, let's have a look at Hedstrom. So watch Hedstrom in the blue and red polo trying to come around the outside. He was on for that, and the slightest contact from Larson, and he runs wide.
Well, that's it. What we've got to remember, you know, these cars are so light when they're on the brake, when they come on the brake and on the loose, and just a little touch can actually just, a bit like aquaplaning on water, just unsettles a car and a drift to go.
He was unlucky there, Rustad too, wasn't he? As you said, just got out in the loose, and then as a result of that, when he came over the crest, bit enthusiastic on the brakes and got Palkis through as well.
That's right, and then we see there with Palkis and Markland, you know, they've been dicing all day.
Yeah. Ah, there we are. There's the damage. I wonder if that was from the contact on the way up the hill. No, what side was Rustad? No, Rustad was on the outside.
On the outside, yeah.
So maybe you're right, maybe he clipped the wall. Here's that contact. So Palkis, okay, so he'd squeezed Markland, hadn't he? Markland squeezed in, but
quite a lot of curb taken, though, and that's not really what you meant to do, is it?
No, it's track limits, maybe. We'll see. Either way, Larson is the clear winner, and he is with Neil Cole.
Robin, perfect strategy, perfect race, and you stayed out of trouble. How does it feel?
It feels really good. It's been a tough weekend. Didn't have the
through the weekend, but the joker lap on the first lap to the semi and the final worked perfectly. So they did a lot of trouble in the front, Marklund and Kiss, I think. So it was perfect strategy. Thanks, Spanner Janberg, magical man.
And how does it feel to get your first win of the year finally?
It's really good. It's Barcelona wasn't even good to us, so we needed these points. So I need a beer now.
Larson pulls a gear and will head back to the paddock and let the celebrations begin, I'm sure. We're going to have a look at the championship standings for European Supercar. Anton Marklund is now 11 points clear. He was 8 points clear before, and it was Paul Kiss that was behind him. It's now Robin Larson who moves up from 6th in the standings. So Marklund, Larson, Paul Kiss, Tommy Rustad, Thomas Brinterson, Alexander Volt, Derek Tohill and Oliver O'Donovan. There are your top 8 from European Rallycross Championship after Norway. You already know about this one. We're heading down to Cape Town in South Africa at the end of this season for round 12 of 2017. A brand new rallycross track being built down there. The backdrop will be Table Mountain. Cannot wait. And next year at Silverstone, the World Rallycross Championship, we're going along to join in with the Speed Machine Festival. Speed Machine isn't just about motorsport. There are other elements as well.
Speed Machine is a festival, a new concept festival, bringing in music, taste, an e-gaming element, but with World Championship Motorsport at the heart of it. I think there's about 200 festivals in the UK, all of very well run, huge merit, from Goodwood to Reading to the Isle of Wight to Carfest. But the difference in this is it's competitive motorsports, but bringing in, as I say, other elements such as food, music, e-gaming, and the ability for car manufacturers to come along, build showrooms on site, and then test drive cars. The public can test drive cars on the F1 track. The reason we've come to Silverstone is because of infrastructure and scalability. The facilities here are fantastic. The wing behind me is a £40 million development, and we're able to use that, and nowhere else offers us that.
Teams are re-preparing the cars frantically for the 6th final of the year, the halfway point. You can see Neil Cole running through there with our cameraman, trying to get down to the drivers. Of course, they've been back to the paddock. They've thrown their hands devices and their belts off. They've changed wheels. They're re-prepping everything just as fast as they can and look back into the cars. There's Backrud. He is desperate for another win at home, but he's got Christopherson alongside him, who's going to make it very hard. Neil Cole is with Timmy Hansen.
Tim, this morning you were ready to go home, the car looked broken, you've made it through to the final again. What's the strategy from the back?
I don't know, it's like an all-in strategy. I was 12th qualifier for the semi, now I'm in the final, so what else can you go for than to try to get in some gaps? Everything can happen on this track, we saw this before, right?
And is everything all right with the car? Does it handle perfectly?
Yeah, it's in one piece and we are still going.
Timmy's very, very happy, isn't he? And at this point, there's no pressure because there was a disaster earlier today and now it's a result.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't expect to probably even be here, Andrew. So for it to come from 12th qualifier to the semi-final, be sitting on the back row of the final, you know, like you said, let's see what can happen.
Lots of your tweets coming in at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for getting in touch. The hashtag is WorldRX. You've heard me say that once or twice before, I'm sure. Ekstrom, the world champion. Sebastian Loeb, he's won an event. He won in Latvia last year. Going to get his 2nd win here. Peugeot looks like they need to find just a little bit more pace, but to be fair, everybody needs to find a little bit more pace compared to the VWs. But Solberg, we saw, had a problem in his semi-final. That meant that it didn't go his way. There's Kevin Hansen up in the spotters tower, having a chat with Per Eklund. Neil Cole, meanwhile, has managed to find Timur Timozyanov.
Timo, it's great to see you in the final. It's a fantastic semi. What's the strategy now?
Yeah, we are in final. It's really nice. We continue to fight now. Still have the lap record here, but we need to beat the other guys now on the track.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Timo Scheider in his first final of the year, all smiles. And remember what he did here last year. He was so close to taking that win. I know I'm not alone in wanting to see the guy take a win. He hasn't done it since 2012. You're going to hear me say it again and again until he does do it. Bakkerud in the tiny tyre warming area here. It's literally 30 feet long and then into a left over a crest with a concrete wall on the outside. It's almost like they want you to put it in the wall before you start, David.
Yeah, it doesn't fill you with confidence if you're pointing at a wall and you're launching, just to check everything's going to go all right and the brakes still work, you know.
Look at that crowd in the background. There are 21,000 people here this weekend. That's the biggest crowd we've ever had in Norway, and that is despite absolutely terrible weather yesterday. Well done, Norway. You have done your drivers and this fantastic sport proud. Kristoffersen pulls up onto the line. Okay, Neil Cole has managed to grab hold of Petter Solberg, who for the first time this season hasn't made it through to the final. He'd be disappointed, but he'd be rooting for Kristoffersen.
Petter, first time this season you're not in the final. You look very disappointed.
This has been so many times now, and he did the same in 2 years ago here. When I was in lead, he pushed me off the road. Now he pushed me off the road. Hockenheim, he drove over me. I don't know. I just really, I don't know how words. I'm so disappointed, you know. In Norway, you know, and second time in Norway, he pushed me off the road.
Sorry, Petter, thank you.
Well, if there was a fire, that is fuel being poured onto it. If you've been watching since the start of this show, then you'll know that those two are big rivals here. Petter feeling a little bit hard done by. There's the Monster Energy Supercharge Award. Remember, that's for the fastest reaction time now, which is judged by our jump start sensors. But Petter really unhappy with Bakkerud. David, I don't know really whether that's justified.
I don't know, Andrew. I mean, at the end of the day, Bakkerud had the inside line off the start. Great start. Went for the joker. Unluckily, Solberg's on the outside.
Here's the grid for the final of round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Andreas Bakkerud racing at home for another home win. Johan Kristoffersen next to him. Row 2, Matthias Ekström and Sebastian Loeb. Just the one new tyre for Ekström. We saw a pair on the front, I think it was for Bakkerud. Timo Scheider and Timmy Hansen at the back. All in for those guys. Timo's first final of the year. Timmy didn't think he'd even make it through to Q4. Let's do this. Final time. Look at the crowd behind, all their phones out. You'll see some with their fingers in their ears as the anti-lag comes on, especially when they realise how loud Timo's car is right at the back of the grid. There's Forrest Duplessis and Dave Mansfield, both up there helping out with the spotting duties for Bakkerud. We are moments away. There's the ready to race light. They will all not be blinking till they see the green. There it is. Timo Scheider sideways in the back. Kristoffersen's got a hooked up well. Loeb across on Ekström straight away. Kristoffersen and Bakkerud. Kristoffersen straight to the joker. Bakkerud's a little bit wide on the inside line. Sebastian Loeb rides the curbs on the inside and Ekström goes with him. In the background, Kristoffersen, Timo Scheider and Timmy Hansen in the joker. Hansen up the inside on the way down into turn 2. Nicely done by Timmy Hansen. Timo Scheider was caught a little bit napping there.
Great start by all. Yes, Timo Scheider wasn't expecting that, but, you know, great start. Bakkerud went in a little bit wide, brought it in tight. Loeb seemed to take a lot of curb. It was unexpected, whether he just wasn't quite right on his input there, but he took a lot of curb.
He did take a lot of curb. Looked like he got a bit more grip than he thought. Now, Bakkerud's going to have to push like hell here. All he can hope, excuse the pun, Bakkerud gets the Monster Energy Supercharge Award. He's going to only go straight to the joker, so Bakkerud's responding to the joker now. And this is to try and cover off Johan Kristoffersen behind him. Bakkerud's going to try and merge with Kristoffersen. This will be for the win, I'm almost sure of it. And Kristoffersen's done it already. So Kristoffersen's done it already. Bakkerud gives him a nudge. Solberg will be watching and he won't like that. But that is the mark of how quick this VW is. It took him one lap to make enough to get in front of Bakkerud.
The chassis on that VW, it just seems to handle any track they throw at it. And, you know, you saw that one lap and he's pulled that back enough to come back out in front of Bakkerud. It was the only chance that they had to come straight in and come back out again.
Great job, and of course this is exactly what happened in Linden Hill. If you remember, we saw the response from one joker straight to the other. Kristoffersen when Solberg went, they responded to each other. This time it was a response to Kristoffersen, and Bakkerud unfortunately has come out, unfortunately for him, behind, but he will push like mad now to try and pass. But look at Kristoffersen's managed to gap him just a little bit already. Timmy Hansen is right up behind, so Hansen hoping for a podium. Where are Loeb and Ekström going to slot into this lot, because it's going to be tight between them. I think they'll end up somewhere around the Bakkerud Timmy Hansen mark. Loeb up the hill, it's fairly smooth up there. We saw some big bumps through there yesterday, both those two over the crest, and look at Kristoffersen, he's almost on the back of them already.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching it there. they're coming up through the dirt section, Andrew, up onto the top of the hill. He's gaining on them now. If they don't run some jogger now, they're going to be he's going to be coming up and pushing them down the track.
The teams haven't had long in between the events, and nobody, it seems, is able to respond quickly enough. Development takes time, testing takes time, and the VW has just got an edge over these guys. Yeah, there were questions asked about the front radiator at the start of the year, and they're smashing it at the minute. It's an incredible performance.
But they've got the chassis set up, they've got the power, they seem to have the whole package. The others, some of them are working well in the wet. You were seeing that with EKRS yesterday. They were managing to draw back and be on target with the VWs. Today, as soon as we've gone the dry, VW's blown everybody away again.
Let's hope for rain then at a few more events. Christopherson won't be hoping for that. Christopherson will be hoping that he can hold on for just one more lap after this one. Loeb and Ekstrom still to Joker, unless he has a problem, and we don't want to give him the commentator's curse. He's going to be right on the back of these two already. Ekstrom, we look in his mirrors and thinking, what am I going to do? That is, of course, if he's not too busy looking at Sebastian Loeb in front of him.
No, Timmy Hansen there, 4.476. That's about the closest where we're going to see that Loeb can still maybe come back out. Hansen is hungry for this podium. He's had a rotten weekend. He wants to stand on that step. So there's going to be no team orders there.
It would be absolutely brilliant if Timmy can make it through for the team. Of course, it might be at the cost of Sebastian Loeb, but we're going to find out because this is going to be the last lap. Here we go. 9-time World Rally Champion versus World Rallycross Champion into the Joker lap. Ekstrom runs a little bit wide. It's Loeb who's got that done better. Watch for the merge. Here they come, and Hansen is just slightly too far back, and Hansen's going to have a look at Ekstrom. Hansen into the side of Ekstrom. Ekstrom was all over the road. Timo Scheider with a desperate dive from a mile back. Loeb now with Ekstrom right behind him. Hansen behind them as well. So Backrud and Kristoffersen in the clear out front. They're going to be on the top steps of the podium, and what a story for Johan Kristoffersen. He was run over in the pre-grid on Friday. He has a badly injured foot, and he has destroyed them in Norway. Kristoffersen takes his second win of the year. Backrud is on the podium at home in front of his adoring crowd, and Sebastian Loeb manages to take P3. The fireworks fly. What a final. There we are. Kristoffersen sends the car into a donut. The photographers are down there. Great stuff. What a drive from this guy after we know he's in a huge amount of pain. He's barely walking in the paddock. His right foot is badly hurt. Amazing. There's the result of round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from Norway. The noise you can hear in the background is the fireworks still going off. Kristoffersen takes it from Backrud. He couldn't get the dream result, but he'll take a podium. Sebastian Loeb in P3, great job by him. Ekstrom, Hansen and Timo Scheider. Great final. Kristoffersen, though, had unbeatable pace. Fantastic job by him.
Real shame for Petter, but a superb result for the team and for Johan Kristoffersen.
Yeah, it's a fantastic result. It was a really tough weekend. We got it. We went to the final. It was not an easy job, but and finally Johan did a perfect job here on the final, and the win on top of it. Fantastic.
The pace of that VW here was incredible, like massively over Ekstrom and Loeb out front.
Yeah, it looks like with in this kind of conditions we can be ahead of them, so that's a good point, and at the end we can win, so that's what we're looking for.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Very pleased indeed. Okay, look at the replays. So Backrud on the inside. I wonder if Backrud, does he get held up? He doesn't really. I mean, you can't really say he's wide in turn 1, David.
No, it actually looked like he used a little bit of handbrake there, late call. He didn't want to probably get actually pushed by the car behind, so maybe that's why he left it a little bit late, Andrew, to turn the car in. Better off getting through the corner than...
I think it was the right call to Joker here, but I mean, you know, he would have been hoping, I suppose, that Kristoffersen had just the tiniest of hold-up for Kristoffersen and the Joker, and Backrud would have been out in front. And even with the pace, it's hard to pass here, and it's hard to pass in these cars.
It is. The only one we've seen has actually been Solberg today that's been able to do it with the VW again. You know, that car just seems to react to anything they throw at it.
Look at that in the background. It's just absolutely planted. It's on rails. Ekstrom ran a bit wide here, but they wouldn't have done anything about Backrud anyway, to be fair, and Hansen was just behind. Ekstrom had already dropped it at this point, I think, on the brakes.
Definitely, yeah.
Kristoffersen round, taking the checker flag for the second time this year. What a drive. Here is Johan climbing out the car, and he'll climb out carefully because, as I say, he's hurt. There we go. He's going to get on the roof anyway. Be careful, Johan. He's quite gingerly on the roof. Yes, Johan Kristoffersen. Well done. Well done. I went and saw him this morning. He was not in a good way, David. crowd are heading down towards the podium. Look at Johan there. That gives you an idea of how hurt he is. He is struggling to walk and he heads to the team, and this is a brilliant result. Well done, Kristoffersen. Solberg and Kristoffersen together. Solberg, look, big smile, and that's great to see because he will be disappointed. He will be super disappointed. And there we are. Solberg looks a bit emotional, to be fair. You know that he wanted that win for himself, David, but, you know, he's pleased for his teammate.
They did, Andrew, but these guys have worked so hard together as a team. They're sharing a lot of data. They're trying to bring this car on. They're working well. And, yes, he's going to be sad. Home crowd wants to so badly do well here, and he hasn't yet. And look at that. It's just a team effort. It's fantastic to see a team work together like that.
See, these guys know as well. They know how much he's been hobbling around. You know, he's kept himself to himself since the incident on Friday. If you're not across this already, basically, they were pushing Loeb's car through the pre-grid. Look, you can see Kristoffersen doesn't have great visibility with his lid on. He was having a wander through, and basically he was knocked down by Loeb's car. We don't even know if Loeb was in the car at the time. It's all a bit vague, the details, but his foot is hurt. He said he wouldn't go to hospital until Monday because basically he doesn't want to be told he can't do it. Good effort, good effort. You see the drivers from RX2 are down there as well. So here's another look then at some of the action from the final. So Bakkerud was so late on the break. I wonder if Bakkerud wanted a joker, David, but he saw Kristoffersen had got him and then checked up really late on the brakes.
Possibly. Maybe the spotter shouted and said Kristoffersen's coming wide down the left-hand side, and then he had to make the call, dive on the brakes, turn in right. I think you're right, Andrew.
He got it in, though. I mean, he did get it turned in, and I'll say the first lap, look, this was the first lap. It was a tidy first lap. Bakkerud, you know, he's a brilliant driver, and he kept it super tidy, but as we can see from these, Kristoffersen came out in front. So this is a tactic people are going to have to use, I think, against the VWs, isn't it? If you're on the front row with them, you're going to have to respond to their joker immediately, because if you give them any laps, they're going to gap you.
And I don't know if we've noticed, but the VW seems to be a lot more now sideways. Is that a little bit of Solberg's influence coming back in? You watch on the inboard there, Bakkerud's tight. The VW's out wide with Kristoffersen. He's got the car sideways.
Kristoffersen, I know, drove Solberg's old car and then was really impressed with what it could do. He said it was just so easy to drive, and so I suspect there's an element of you know, brilliant chassis dynamics from VW and then probably input, yeah, from Solberg in terms of handling. The two of them don't really have that similar a driving style, but I mean, what a weapon. Look at that. Checker flag, he was miles in front. Fireworks off. Bakkerud's hopes dashed. Second still good. Bakkerud will be pleased, but he's going to be disappointed. And as I say, Solberg quite damning with his words in that interview, so at least we'll see some more fireworks of a different kind later on in the season. There's the podium, all ready to go. We'll be loading the drivers up with champagne and trophies for a standard motorsport celebration in front of a great crowd. The crowd are gathered around the podium waiting to see their top three. Neil Cole is down there in the holding area, and he's managed to grab our P3 man, Sebastian Loeb.
Sebastian, excellent to see you on the podium again. You just seem to quietly take care of business this weekend.
Yeah, but it was not easy. I had a Q3 and Q4 complicated. I was stuck in the traffic, so I lost some places, had to start from second row in semi-final. Also, I have to say that we don't have the speed of Kristoffersen or Bakkerud, so just trying to go through and no mistakes, trying my best, and finally we are here, second in the semi-final, third in the final. So yeah, I think we couldn't do much better this weekend, so I'm happy with the result.
And just a word quickly about the Peugeot Hansen mechanics, because over all your years of rallying, you've seen how hard mechanics can fix up a car, but that was impressive for Timmy. Yeah,
it was very impressive because the car was looking really bad when it arrived, but I think it's quite strong because with the hit it had and nothing is really bent. So it's, but they did a great job in 1 hour to change everything. Even yesterday with my engine, they changed my engine during a practice, and I was able to drive in the last lap. So it was a really good job from the mechanicals this weekend.
Enjoy your podium. Thank you, Sebastian.
Well, Loeb revealing there they had a problem with the engine. That's interesting. Andreas Bakkerud, you can see, is being lined up. Here are the championship standings after round 6. Johan Kristoffersen leading on 151 from Matthias Ekström, who was in that position before, as was Solberg. In fact, you can see the positions haven't changed in the top 8, but the points certainly have. Solberg is still holding on in 3rd, and Hansen and Lobler equal on 102 points each. Backward on 100, Ken Block and Timo Scheider are the top 8. We're going to go back down to Neil Cole.
Andreas Backward, 2nd place at home in Norway. The dream was a win, but you've got to be happy with 2nd.
Yeah, for sure, but I still blame myself for this. The team deserved better, so I should have had a better start. I risked a bit too much in that final, so too much wheel spin wasn't just not smooth enough, so otherwise I would probably joker and get in front, so I lost too much on killing all the tires in the first corner, so I tried my best. Johan was a better man today.
Well done, though. Thank you.
He's more disappointed than I thought. PSRX Volkswagen Sweden absolutely dominating the team standings. They are now 81 points clear of Team Peugeot, Hansen EKS in 3rd, our Hoonigan Racing Division 4th, MJP Racing Team Austria and Team Stard. Neil Cole has managed to get hold of our winner, Johan Kristoffersen. What a brilliant performance by him after what could have been a disastrous weekend.
Well, Andreas just said that you were the better man this weekend. You beat everyone, another win. This is looking very good this year.
Yeah, it was fantastic. First practice on Friday was really good for us. I had great speed in the dry, and then it was wet on the Saturday on the Q2, Q1. So normally I like the wet a lot, but I couldn't really find the best pace. And today it was drying up, and had a puncture in Q4, so I was slipping down a little bit in the intermediates. But then I had a great semi-final, and then the final was also very good. I saw that Petter had great pace in Q4 with the dry conditions, so I knew the car was fast. And I mean, the car is just amazing. I have to thank the guys, and it's a little bit emotional to be able to win the semi-final and final, because I really felt the right foot was really suffering after I don't know, bruised it on the Friday. So when it was so tight in between the semi-final and final and 12 laps in a row, it was not the best feeling, but so really nice to be able to keep the Swedish flag high here in Norway.
Yeah, flying the Swedish flag in Norway, that must feel particularly good.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's always a little bit rivalry between the Norways and Sweden, and Backward won both of Norway and Sweden last year, so I'm on a good way now.
Well done, congratulations.
Johan, there it is, the Swedish flag. We're going to Sweden next, and Johan will be keen to win there. He's had that flag hidden in his back pocket, hasn't he? So Johan Kristoffersen, bless him, being a real gentleman and saying, I bruised my foot, but he didn't disclose where. Unfortunately, we'd already told everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, look at the crowd. We've got the baby blue supporters in the background for Backward. You know, great for Kristoffersen. He's a great guy.
There it is. Fantastic. And I was told, thank you for whoever it was who told me it was Cookie Monster is the outfit in the background.
We have been trying to work that out for the whole of the live show.
There is Cookie Monster in the background, jumping up and down. That's Matt White. Thanks, Matt. There we are. Backward is P2. Backward's a gentleman too. Big applause. And there we go. Look at this. But he's on the wrong side. Backward's on the wrong side. Sebastian, though, like, come on, you're in the wrong place, sunshine. Move over. There we go. So yeah, he will be disappointed, but you know, it was a great performance, and you know, I think they'll be praying for rain, David.
Well, they went quickest TQ in second qualifying heat yesterday in the rain, didn't they, with the Ford? And then, you know, to come back this morning, they've struggled back a bit. He said there that, you know, he maybe overcooked his tyres. He was trying and pushing hard in that lap while Kristoffersen was coming back on him.
He must be pleased with that, mustn't he, after the weekend he's had. He's got 3 weeks now, Kristoffersen, to recover before Sweden. That's the Backward fan club being set off. They've celebrated all weekend anyway. And Sebastian Loeb picking up a trophy for P3. So yeah, 3 weeks to Sweden. And you know, I mean, if he can win Norway with a foot which he damaged on Friday, he should be in good nick by Sweden. And then he's got 4 or 5 weeks, I think maybe even 6 before we head to Canada. So Kristoffersen has time to recover. Backward's disappointed, isn't he?
He is, you know, and like you're saying about going into Sweden, like getting the Supercharger award, maybe that's a bit of condolence for him, you know, at the end of the day. He is quick. They're getting quicker with the car. It's a long ask to be on VW's pace at the minute, but they're working on it.
Didn't even give Backward a chance, did they, with the champagne shower? Backward getting the Monster Energy Supercharger Award from Luke Woodham, who's been putting on their displays here in his drift car for the crowd. A drink for Bakkerud. There we are. Ching ching from the drivers. An absolutely brilliant job by Jan Kristoffersen. Bakkerud P2, Sebastian Loeb in P3 here in Norway. Well, what a weekend of action here in Norway. We had a wonderful dry day on Friday. We had a couple of hours of free practice. We then had horrendous rain all day long on Saturday, but the fans were here in their droves. And finally here on Sunday, dry weather for them to see some absolutely brilliant action. David Binks, you enjoyed being back with us?
Fantastic, and I hope everybody else has enjoyed it as much as we have here today.
Great stuff. Bakkerud here sideways earlier on. Thank you to David Binks. We'll see you later on in the year, I'm sure. Bakkerud up and over the jump. The crowd applauding. Solberg was so desperate to make it through. This was Bakkerud. See, Solberg says he pushed him off. Okay, I disagree. I think there's somebody else who might have been responsible there, but we'll have to let Solberg have a look at the replays for himself. That was his fight back, desperately trying to make it through. He managed to pass 2 cars, but he couldn't pass the crucial third one, which meant he couldn't put on a fight for the win at home. It was Bakkerud who won the first semi-final. On to semi-final number 2, and Kristoffersen and Ekstrom split their strategies. Sideways up in the joke lap, that was Haken running a little bit wide. Bakkerud on board with him. This must be from the other semi or from the final. Big movement on the handbrake. Look at that. He tried so hard to win here in Norway, but he couldn't do anything about the pace of Kristoffersen. Kristoffersen was on the back of them here. Look, Bakkerud coming through in the final to slot in to P2. Sebastian Loeb into P3. Ekstrom and Hansen did a bit of squabbling at the end of this lap, but it was all done and dusted. Kristoffersen, with an injured foot, was out front. He took his 2nd win of the year. That is VW's 3rd, of course, and it's their 3rd in a row. Belgium, UK and Norway. Sweden is up next. Can Kristoffersen do the same there? What a drive. Sweden's a brilliant event. It's just 3 weeks. Join us then.